We got to try to get Mama Bear the same amount of likes over there that we get in here today. That's my goal.
I need
Think we
watch
can do it.
hours.
I think we can do it. Yes. Yes. And watch hours. We need to
I'm going
start
to turn
watching
like
all
on
Mama
every
stuff.
device I have.
Well, we have to watch all your stuff. I don't know. How many videos do you have out?
50 some, I think.
We need to watch them all. Yeah,
Between videos and lives.
Lives. Welcome, Summer Jade. Leave your touch DNA on the like button, guys. It's just a tiny little bit. It's all it takes. Absolutely 13. Welcome back to you. Great to see you today. 92 peeps in the house. 64 likes. I guess we're getting there. Let me refresh that and see what it says. Yep, it's getting there. Little by little by little by little by little by little. So how many people are interested, considering everything we've been seeing, the way it's been coming out left and right, all this crazy stuff? I get kind of excited now every time I see that they've dropped a new document because I have no idea what to expect anymore. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy nowadays. I like your shirt.
Thank you.
That's pretty neat.
Yep.
Never better. Mama Bear likes skulls, like me.
Yes.
One thing we definitely have in common. We both like skulls. This thing weighs about 15 pounds, believe it or not. It's solid. Yeah, it's solid obsidian. My daughter gave it to me for birthday years ago, and it's
Cool.
like a weapon. Somebody comes in here and mess with me, I'm just flinging it. Yep, I got that one, and I got this one. I forgot I had this one that takes batteries. I just don't know what kind. The eyes light up like light bulbs. Have light bulbs in it. I have them sitting all around me. I love them too.
Hey, Kim. Good to see you, hon.
And there's a Mama Bear. Yeah, you guys are welcome to hop over and hang out with her over there too. Since we're all together, it doesn't matter. There's Miss Kim's link. Thank you, Stormy dear. Thank you, Aurora. That's cool, Cassie. Mama Bear makes them out of everything. Like she was sitting here one day, we were talking about something. I think it was on Discord, and she's folding paper and doing this and doing that. And I'm like, "What is that?" And she holds it up, and it says "perfectly made skull." I'm like, "Did you just make that?" She's like,
Kim might get a kick out of that.
"That's pretty wild. It really is." Hold on, guys. Sorry, real quick here. Okay. She is crafty. She made mine out of plastic. How many do you have in total that just sitting around that you've made and collected?
Of skulls. 3 that I could think of off the top of my head. I'm sure there's more, and they've just been there. Remember.
Right. Gotcha.
Not to count, not counting the skull scarf I made this winter, and then my shirts and things like that have skulls on them. So, hi, Joey.
Oh, Joey, I'm gonna get there, Nat Detective. 25 minutes in now. Somebody's impatient with me. Look at that. Imagine that. I like to talk a little when we first get in and make sure everybody gets. I try to make sure everybody's coming in so I don't have to go back and reread again. That's what I wait on usually. So sorry. Don't mean to waste your time. Not trying to. We got 100 peeps in here. 74 likes. We're getting there. I know that, Joey. I appreciate that. I heard you tell me that the other day. And Tomboy's birthday's tomorrow too.
Hey, Eddie.
Good to have you here, Eddie. All right, guys. Let me see here. We'll pull this link. Like I said, I just try to make sure I get everybody in here so I don't have to reread and go back again. 1 minute. Okay, so there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 9 or 10. Yeah, it was 9 or 10, but they came overnight, from the 31st through the 2nd. And let's see, some of these are going to be quickies that don't have anything to them. Hold on here.
Hey,
Start
be
with-
real.
Okay, so this next one, or the first one we're going to hit. Give me a second here. I'll show you. Amended notice of filing declaration in support of the defendant's objection to the state's motion in limine. The text messages and testimony. Let's see what we got here. There's a couple quickie ones in here that we won't have to read through that are just motions or statements that were put out. Welcome, Sammy. Thank you for joining us today. Joey, Sammy, I don't think I missed anybody. If I did, I will catch up with you guys. Let's see here. This one was okay. Josiah Roloff, declare as follows that I am 18 over the age of 18 and competent to testify in this matter. I am currently the president and senior digital forensics examiner at Roloff Digital Forensics LLC, a private digital forensics firm headquartered in Spokane, Washington. My firm provides digital forensic services and consulting in legal matters involving electronic evidence, including evidence derived from computers, mobile phones, memory cards, other electronic devices, and data sets from third-party electronic service providers. My background in digital forensics includes a professional certificate in computer forensics from Oregon State and New Technologies Incorporated, NTI, the Certified Computer Examiner, CCE, credential from the International Society of Forensic Computer Examiners. And this all right here, guys, tells all of the background and the educational qualifications, basically, to be able to testify as an expert. So I'm not going to read all that. I'm going to stay my breath because there's a lot of other stuff to read. It does state that I have worked exclusively in the field of digital forensics since 2003. During this time, I have conducted examinations on thousands of digital evidence items, including hard drives, CDs, DVDs, floppy diskettes, thumb drives, flash cards, magnetic tapes, tablet devices, cellular phones, SIM cards, PDAs, smartphones, feature phones, and data obtained from internet service providers, cloud storage providers, and cellular service providers. I have worked on over 1,500 digital forensic cases involving these types of media. Wow. Okay. So this person, in my opinion, is highly qualified to be able to testify as an expert. Okay, so to get to the point where we need to be now, I have been retained as a digital forensic examiner, a DFE, to assist. Where are we at here? To assist Miss Ann Taylor and defense team in the Idaho versus Brian Koberger case. I have reviewed the documents titled DM 11.13 bubble format and BM 11.313 bubble format, excuse me, which contain data extracted from mobile devices used by individuals identified as DM and BM. Or I think it's DM and BF is what it was supposed to be, respectfully. I believe that's right, Bear? BM, that it would be BF. They must have screwed that up. I don't know of anybody named BM.
BN?
Yeah.
I don't know, BN.
DM and BF would make sense. There's an echo. It shouldn't be an echo. Respectfully, these documents reflect periods of activity. Should be interesting, guys. periods of activity on the mobile device that would require user interaction with the device for them to occur, specifically for the date of November 13th of 22. BM is DM's dad's initials. Oh, okay. So I want to make, that's why I'm saying I want to make sure that that's all right. So for the note taking, I'm just going to write BM for now and stick with that and see what happens. Because Dylan's father's name is Brent, I believe. I think, is it Brent? Did I say that right? Yeah, BM. Okay. So this is between, if we're going to go with this, between her and her father, I'm going to guess. Okay. Back to where I was. Respectfully, these documents reflect periods of activity on the mobile device that would require user interaction with the device. Okay, we know that. The documents include artifacts and content demonstrating a variety of user interactions, including incoming and outgoing native text messages, incoming and outgoing Snapchat message artifacts, indicated by the application identifier com.toyopaygroup.peekaboo. Hold on, guys. Let me write that down because I've never heard that before. Com.toyo PAGROUP .peekaboo. Interesting. Voice and video calls conducted via Snapchat and the native phone dialer. Creation, modification, and deletion of multimedia files such as images and videos. Application usage logs showing when specific apps were opened and closed. Internet browsing artifacts and cookie data showing access to particular websites or internet-based services. I declare under penalty of perjury that the foregoing is true and I correct to the best of my knowledge, skill, and belief. So this is an expert they're going to have testify to what was stated in these messages and phone calls, I'm guessing. And all of the, what do you call social media accounts that were used here. Where'd that go? Oh, I went down a little too far, didn't I? I did. Okay, now let me get down here now. Okay, so this down here does explain my firm's clients include the United States Navy, Marine Corps, Army, Air Force, Coast Guard, numerous federal and state public defender offices, private attorneys throughout the United States, Europe, and Asia. I have examined digital evidences in cases involving allegations of homicide, sexual exploitation, solicitation, sexual assault, unauthorized system access, voyeurism, insider trading, espionage, kidnapping, arson, threats against government officials, and robbery, among other charges. So this person has done a lot, okay, and is going to be able to break these down, in my opinion, quite well. So that's pretty much what we're looking at now. So I don't know I'm not really positive what the 1113 bubble format means. I'll have to look into that myself. Welcome, Scott. Metalhead, good to see you today. Thank you for joining us. Molly, good to see you, dear. Anybody else that's jumped in, thank you so much for joining us tonight. That would be Josiah Roloff. For anybody that is taking notes, Eddie. I'm really interested to hear that testimony. Welcome, IME. James Moen, thank you for joining us, sir. All right, guys. So that's that document. It's quite interesting, to say the least, in my opinion. Let's see what we got up here next. All right, and then we have, hold on. Okay, so this next one here this is going to be one of the quickie ones. Motion to seal the defendant's objections to the state's proposed jury questionnaire. And that's the state versus Brian. We know how that goes. That's just a standard documentation motion. Okay, and there it is. It just shows. Hold on. That's all it is. So that one, luckily, there's not a lot of reading. I'll be able to save a little bit of breath there. And let's see. Next up. And it's another sealing document there. Or not this one, but that one was. Okay, this one is the motion to seal exhibits to defendant's third supplemental response to the request for discovery regarding expert witnesses at the penalty phase. There's all standard writing. This motion is made on the grounds that the exhibits contain methodology and opinions, and to preserve the right to a fair trial, such materials must be sealed until trial in open court. So again, another standard document there for sealing. All right, and then we have the state's response to the questionnaire. I do believe that's what this is here. Oh, yeah, it's the state's response to the defendant's proposed jury questionnaire. You guys can see that. And it's just another standard document. Again, the motion to seal the state's response to the defendant's proposed jury questionnaire. There you go, guys. Thank you, Stormy. Let me see. Let's see. Okay, so there we go with that one. Motion to seal state's response to defendant's proposed. There's going to be a lot of these probably, but I still like to read through all these just to make sure that we're getting everything. All right, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4. Next one up here, and a lot of these are going to mimic each other too, sadly. I always look for the good juicy stuff. It'll give us some information on what we're doing. Order sealing. This is the sealing order. The defendant's objections to the state's proposed jury questionnaire. It is hereby ordered defendant's red line objections to the state's proposed jury questionnaire shall be filed under seal pursuant to the ICAR 32 and IC 741-241B and C. And that has been sealed. There it is. All right. Next up. Once we get through these guys, we'll open it up for the discussion on all these. Okay, this one. Did we cover this one? Yeah. The motion to seal exhibits to defendant's third supplemental response to request for discovery regarding expert witness penalty phase. Yeah, we covered that one. Sometimes these overlap, you guys. I'm sorry. All right, up next we have the order sealing C, exhibit C, I'm sorry. So all of these things have been sealed. I really wish they wouldn't seal everything, but some of this, the exhibits are all going to be sealed. That I know. We've talked about that before. Order sealing exhibit C to defendant's third supplemental response to discovery, and the court having before it the stipulated motion to seal C to defendant's third response and good cause appearing now. Therefore, it is hereby ordered that it has been sealed under ICAR 32. There we go. All right, hang on here. And I think the rest of these are along the same lines too. And this one here, on everybody. These were dropped yesterday, Violet, which is
So just
Tuesdays.
kind of rinse and repeat.
Kind of, yeah. Tuesdays and Fridays seem to be the days that they drop everything. Order sealing exhibits to defendant's third supplemental response to request for discovery regarding the expert witness penalty phase. Welcome, Joy Perry. Hello. Long time been on your channel. I've been kind of following coworker. What did they find him guilty or what? There's so much. Nope, nothing yet, Joy. Thank you for joining us. Nope, not till August. We do have 2 hearings showing up, or April 9th and 10th, towards this, but nothing. The trial itself is not until August. So this one has been. This is a supplemental response. Okay. Expert witness shall be filed. This is another sealed certificate. There on that one. Let's see. And the next one is just an order sealing the defendant's response. I'm sorry. Defendant's proposed jury questionnaire against order sealing the state's response to defendant's proposed show. So this is another seal order. So there's nothing great here, but and it's done once again, sealed by Judge Hippler, the guy that said he wanted to unseal all these things. But I know there's certain things that have to stay sealed. Period. Welcome, need some Z's. Good to see you. Yeah, the judge that's true. Just decided to seal all of the defendant's exhibits to MIL. Very true. Motions in limine. Sorry. I think I hit them all. I did, but 1 second here. This one here. Oh yeah, I read that one. Okay. That was that about the text messages and stuff. So those are I'm interested to hear what that expert has to say about the text messages between Dylan and her dad. But it does, Joy. It's a death penalty case, so it takes a long time. It does. There's a lot of motions. But another thing too, though, Joy, with this case that we've come to find out over the past month is there's been a lot of BS that has been, which explains a lot of the motions now that has been brought forth from the prosecution. We've seen a lot of crazy stuff being shown here not to be true now. So that could be why this is taking longer than what a lot of people expect too, because of all this stuff that's been coming out. Probably need some Z's. Probably. I agree. And yeah, we'll be looking at all of these once the trial's said and done. All this stuff that was sealed and that nobody saw, just like with Delphi, I will be pulling it up and we will be reviewing it all. Let me make sure I didn't miss anything back before here. The 27th, that was supportive affidavit and objection. So, yep, that's another sealed document. That one I saw. Hold on. The 26th stuff, we all went through that already. Notice a filing declaration in support of the defendant's objection to the state's motion in limine. Okay. Yep, we covered that. Now there was another one that I didn't get to really go over with you guys that I was very curious about though. We talked about it just a tinge the other night. The defense bringing forth the alternative suspects. Hold on a minute. Wait, what's this? Did I miss? No. Okay. Oh, yeah. The reply to state's objection to motion in limine number 6, Nolan and touch and contact DNA. I didn't get to go through that with you guys, and I have some questions about that one. It's okay, Miss Paula. Welcome. Sorry to hear that, Aurora. I bet you are. I hate moving. Violet, welcome, by the way. And thank you for that, Stormy. Denise, welcome back. If I didn't see, I'm just catching up with you guys real quick, and I want to talk about this next document. And I'm going to go ahead and I will open up the panel for discussion. If anybody would like to join. Yeah, that's the question of the century, I think, Joy. Well, no excuse. Why did they wait 8 hours to call the police? We've all been asking that question from day one, I think. So that is the question of the century. Absolutely. Welcome,
Very
Hemisphere. Yeah, right. That is what brought all the questions on. That's what brought all the craziness into this case. Anybody that waits that long to do something, it causes questions, So, hold on a minute here, guys. Let me do something real fast. Let me bring this down. I'm going to pin the link in the chat here for now. If anybody wants to join me and Mama Bear, please jump up here with us. Feel free. I'd love to hear your voices. Typing is fine, but I love to hear actual emotion from people when they discuss this and how they feel about certain things and your ideals and your feelings. So, and there he is. My man Eddie's in the house. What's up, brother? Thank you for joining me again.
Thank you for having me.
Always, 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 buddy. You know that. You're always welcome here. So is there anything in particular that before we got into anything else that you wanted to discuss specifically? Since you're up here.
Yes,
Okay.
and we can wait to discuss it too. It has to do with what we were discussing the last time we were together.
Okay, so we can go. You want to?
We can
wait?
cover that whenever.
Yep. Okay.
I won't
Yeah,
forget
yeah.
it.
There was definitely some questions with that stuff, guys. We spent, I don't know, Eddie. How long were we involved in that situation? I'd say a couple good hours. Yeah, and it really brought forth. It was me and Eddie, Willie, Hemisphere was up here with us, a couple other people, and it really begged to question some serious issues that we were hearing. Okay, via the 911 call and some other stuff, and it really brought a lot to the surface on that, in my opinion. So, excuse me. Welcome, Wayne B. Good to see you. So we'll do that here in a little bit. Okay. I do have some questions about this this document here, by the way, that we never really got to review a lot. And I wanted to, and I just kept forgetting because there was so much to talk about. There's been so much to talk about every time we do this. We never covered all. So you know how that. Welcome, Brown Eyes.
Yeah, this new document, they're talking about this document reflects periods of activity on the mobile device that would require the interaction with the device for them to occur, specifically for the date of November 13th. So the person is using the device at a certain time, is
right.
What that's saying.
Oh yeah, that the one that, and it's hold on here. Let me pull that back up. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Where'd it go? It is right here. Oh, it's up here further. That's why. Nope, it's still up further. There it is. This is. Oh, I hear you, Ghost.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. And the thing that grabbed my interest with this one, Eddie, I'll have to say, is the names that are highlighted in this. Okay, if this is Dylan and her father, why are these text messages so important? I wonder.
Right, and I'm sure it is. I don't think on this filing there would be a typo of that magnitude.
Either. Yeah, it makes sense. So that would be Dylan Mortensen and her father, who is Brent Mortensen. Or Brent Mortensen. Sorry, guys. And that, to me, that's really interesting. I'll just put it that way, okay? Because let's see, we reviewed the text messages, the phone, all that stuff. There was never anyone specifically that they've filed any documents on except for these two within that whole text message thing. Is it because of what was said between the two? Is it because of well, first off, I don't know what the 11.13 bubble format stands for. I don't know what that means. So my apologies. I'll have to look into that and see what that is. And I think that this is about I think it is about recovering.
Yeah, some of it's about recovering deleted activity.
I'm going to guess that. Yeah, Eddie. That's my point. I think they're trying to recover certain things, or they have, and they want to know what they say.
Now, here's an interesting thought on that. So that would not necessarily be the user deleting that. That could have been deleted by somebody
Snap-
else.
Okay. Or like, well, they said they referenced, where'd it go? Snapchat, I do believe. And Snapchat deletes their messages after a certain, yeah, it says it right there. It says that they contain incoming, outgoing native text messages. I'm going to guess native is like standardized text messaging. Incoming and outgoing Snapchat message artifacts indicated by the application identifier which this has got to be a application server, I think. Toyo paygroup.peekaboo. That's a server or like an app platform, right? I would guess like the server that runs an app.
Yeah, don't ask me.
I mean, it sounds like that to me. It sounds a little weird, but and then it also says voice and video calls that were conducted via Snapchat and the native phone dialer, creation, modification, and deletion of multimedia files such as images and videos, application usage, logs showing when specific apps were opened and closed, internet browsing artifacts, and cookie data showing access to particular websites or internet-based services. That is very interesting to me. Okay. The fact that it talks about deletion tells us that, it's obvious. And images and videos and all of that, it probably falls under a standard protocol, but I still think there's a lot to that. So the 11/13 must be the date. Okay. From what I'm seeing in the chat, that makes some sense.
Yeah.
And the title of it.
I think part of this is getting to the root of who is doing the deleting.
Yeah, 100%. And then at the same time, that's going to bring the question forward: why were they deleted? You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's like SRB just said, think about the Murdaugh trial. They're looking hard. Amen. And they need to. They absolutely need to. Because why were these things deleted? Because a lot of people, Snapchat deletes their stuff. I get that automatically. But all this other stuff, certain videos and video conversations, images and all that. Why would you delete stuff like that out of your phone that specific day? That's the question I have. That to me is it's at least a tad bit suspicious in some senses, right?
Well, people who have nothing to hide nothing.
I like that. People that have nothing to hide nothing. I love that. I need that on a t-shirt. This declaration eliminates any claim that the roommates were completely incapacitated by shock, sleep, or unaware. Thank you, Gordon. Which we've already come to the conclusion of that they were awake. We know they were awake. Tomboy's saying that the bubble format's how they charted it. Got you. Thank you. Michelle Weddle, hello and welcome. And she agrees. And that, and this was all before calling 911. I'm curious, especially with the conversation between her and her father, because at some point, I don't remember, you guys, and correct me if I'm wrong, when we went through the text messages, there wasn't anything between Dylan and her father, was there? Or I know Bethany did, but did she? Because I don't remember hearing that. And if there wasn't, maybe this is what this is about right here. Yeah, we definitely have wondered that, if things were deleted and why. Like, I'm going to say that from now on. The person that has nothing to hide hides nothing. I love that.
So what I've done is to follow the progression of this particular motion in limine is I pulled up, because notice at the top of this one on page 1 and on the top of page 2, they're talking about this is a declaration of Josiah Roloff
Yes.
in support of their objection to the state's motion in limine regarding text messages and testimony filed with the court on March 17th.
Yep.
So what I've done is I pulled up that just to, go backwards and to see where we were at prior to this.
Okay, so down here in March 17th, let's see, state's motion in limine. What number was it, Eddie?
It's March 17th.
Which limine was it? Did it say?
Yeah, let's see. It's defendant's objection to the state's motion in limine regarding text messages.
Okay. It's right in here.
I know it's hard to find. It's like a needle in a haystack.
It is. As soon as you see the word text, actually, you know what I could do? I always forget that I can do this.
Good job. I'm proud of you.
Defendant's amended notice of filing. Defendant's objection to state's motion in limine, read text messages. That one?
Let's see. I'm going to see where you're at.
Okay.
Now I got to see where I'm at.
Nope, no worries. She did. I do remember she did call her dad, but they're not pulling phone calls; they're pulling text messages. So, and yes, Norma, her stepmother is an attorney.
Why is mine so different than yours? Huh?
If unless I don't have the right one, because we know that there's some of these look identical.
Well, the one you have on your screen is what, dated March 31st?
This is dated 31st.
Okay. Yeah, that's why. Because
Okay.
I'm at March 17th again.
Sorry. I thought I went down. Oh, it took me back up when I typed in the Control F. I'm sorry. Down here, it should be down. There it is. Defendant's objection to state's motion in limine, read text messages and testimony. Does that sound right?
Yeah.
All right. Sorry about that. I just looked for the highlighted word and went to it. All right, here we go.
Okay, so we don't have to go through the whole thing, but an interesting portion of it on page 3, towards the bottom. It's the second to the last paragraph. I'll read it if you just want to have it on your screen. So it reads, both exceptions require the statements to be contemporaneous. I'm sorry.
Contemporaneous, yeah.
Thank you. With an event and be spontaneous without time for reflection. In this case, the rule of completeness is critical both to analyze the claim of an excited utterance and to understand the context of what was occurring. Mr. Kohlberger has maintained his innocence. Thus, the time frame of the state alleges is very much at issue. So, a reminder to us all, that's kind of what they're building up here,
Right. Absolutely. The time
frame.
That's a problem. The time frame is at issue, very much at issue.
And notice, if you scroll down until we do get to the back and forth texting, it's only like a page. You'll see it on page 4.
Yeah.
Notice it starts with a time of 2:10 and 29 seconds, right? Okay.
Right.
Contrast that with, and I don't expect you to pull it up, but you can just take my word on it. This is the defendant's objection to the state's motion in limine regarding the text messages. So the state's motion in limine regarding text messages was filed like prior to this. It was February 24th. And notice, we all recall that theirs was heavily redacted.
Mm-hmm.
beginning at time frame of 422. So notice the discrepancy. Contrast this with 210
Yeah,
and
because
29
that starts.
seconds. So
That starts down
significant
here.
time frame
2
that
hours.
the defense is wanting to bring to light to our attention.
Well, and that's when you have to take that into account, like what you just said. So if they start down here at 422, we'll say everything before that, all of this right here is basically, in a sense, they want it redacted. They want it hidden, so you don't see these things for some reason. So why don't they want you to see this? Because it tells another story, in my opinion, that relates into this that they didn't want us to know. The defense wants us to see, is what I'm saying. Sorry, guys. Which is interesting because that shows when at 2:10, Dylan texts Eric Gower about, "Are you still driving?" And then he responds, and then at 2:53, when Maddie calls Bethany, okay, and then 3:51, Dylan creates a new account in her phone. Those are things that it seems that the state doesn't want you to know because they didn't offer that up at first. And the defense is pointing that out, saying, "Hey, guys, did you see this too? That's a problem, guys. That says something to me." And there's quite a few before it gets to that point. So, yeah, exactly.
Feels like the state must have us believe that these crimes occurred after 4 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
When, in fact, they didn't. It was prior to that.
Seems earlier than that for sure. Absolutely. So, and that takes us back to, again, this whole thing right here, guys, this whole block of text messages, all of this, and phone calls and everything that went on during this period of time is the 8-hour period of time that there was no explanation for, and why that 911 wasn't called, so on and so forth. Welcome, Virginia. There's the tomboy. Welcome, tomboy. Who are you talking to?
This should be a no-brainer for the judge. He should deny the state's motion in limine regarding text messages, and he should allow the declaration of Josiah Roloff.
Yes, agreed.
No-brainer.
I mean, yeah, 100%. If you take what you just said, seeing this, and then hearing the affidavit that I've read through twice now from Cy Ray, those two things in unison, in my opinion, they tell their own story as well. And the judge needs to look at that and go, okay, there's a problem here that needs to be addressed before we go further with anything. I'm worried that he's not going to. I don't know why I feel like he's not going to, but I just have a bad feeling in my gut that he's not going to pay attention to those things and address it. So
100%.
You know what I mean? And I'm not saying that he's not. Don't.
If you remember.
Whoa, hold on. Go ahead. Are you there?
If you remember in the PCA, it said, yeah, I'm here.
Go ahead. I think there's a delay.
If you remember in the PCA, it said Dylan was asleep until 4 a.m. So they have to continue with that narrative. So anything before 4 a.m., they don't want you to know that she was wide awake.
Exactly. And we've all called that into question at this point, right? Boom. Okay. We now know she was wide awake. 3:51 a.m. She's putting a new contact in her phone. There was no sleeping at that point. You weren't awakened by the dog or somebody playing with the dog. You were awake, playing on your phone, doing something. Why was that given to us in that format then? That's a problem.
Because common sense would make you question the PCA and why are they not being truthful?
Right.
But again, common sense doesn't play a key role in this case, apparently.
It hasn't throughout the whole thing. I agree. There was somebody by the dumpster. I'd like to know the timestamp on that dumpster video, by the way. That's a good point, Aurora. As compared to these text messages and things like that, I would love to go back at some point and review that dumpster video over there by Linda Lane to see the timestamp that was, and a couple other things over there were too, to just kind of.
I think it's 3:17.
Oh, Gordon said 3:15. Thank you, Gordon. So 3:15 a.m. was that dumpster video, right? And over here, okay, so it doesn't line up with this. But it's within that hour period of time. That's interesting. Very interesting. Thank you, Gordon. There's a lot of things that we have had to deconstruct and reconstruct, folks, if that makes any sense. You guys know what I'm saying when I say that? Tomboy, Eddie, Mama Bear. Like, if what I mean by that is deconstruct what we're given and put it back together with what we've been given recently, and build our own what makes sense out of that. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes, makes perfect sense.
Yeah. Okay. And we've done that most recently, the past month, I'm going to say a lot, because, we were given for 2.5 years, we were given all this stuff and we're okay. Sure. We'll take it. We don't like it, but we'll take it. And then over the past month, we're given all this. So we had to take all that old stuff and deconstruct that and bring the provable pieces of information and evidence from that into this and put these back together with it to try to build our story to make sense to us now. And it still doesn't. There's still a lot of questions. Okay. Candy, hello and welcome. I wonder, BF and DM are friends today. I just feel like Bethany knows something about Dylan that she's afraid to speak up. I kind of had that feeling too. I wondered if that had anything to do with why Bethany didn't want to come back to Idaho. I always wondered that, Candy, and it's a good statement. Thank you for joining us, by the way. In my opinion, it will depend on if Hitler is connected to the plea deals and CIs, etc. that goes on in that state. If he's not connected to it, then he might rule fairly. Well, my whole problem with what I'm worried about mostly with Hitler, first and foremost, is if he's going to address Cy Ray's affidavit first, before anything. Because if he doesn't even address that, then I'm telling you the rest of this case, there's going to be a huge problem, I think. So, welcome, Rissa. Virginia. Okay, they're talking about Pavarotti stuff. Okay. She called BF at 2:50. Oh, yeah. Maddie called. Is that what you're talking about? Maddie called Bethany at 2:53 a.m. And that's weird, you guys, because if we remember correctly, if the information we were given, Maddie and Kaylee both were nonstop calling Jack Decor from 2:21 to 2:56, I believe it was. And they're trying to call Maddie at the same time. So did those coincide? I wonder? You know what I'm saying? Is there something within whatever was going on there for that reason? Does that coincide because of the timeline? I've always wondered that. Now that since we got this, I don't know. That's another big question I have. Thank you for dropping that, SRB. Interesting. Then Dylan calls Bethany for 41 seconds at 4:20. Now, 4:20, that's an interesting time. 4:20 is supposedly when this all stopped and the perpetrator left. Am I correct? Roughly?
Yeah, according to the state.
The state, yeah. Like I said, allegedly. Let me say that.
Yeah.
So at 4:20 a.m., allegedly, according to what the state has told us, the crime had been committed and the suspect is leaving. So then we see that Dylan is contacting Bethany, actually calling for 41 seconds at that point. What was it to say? Did you hear that? Was it to say, is it over? Was it to say it is over? With what we've seen recently, there's a lot of questions with that phone call, in my opinion. If you know what I mean. Oh, well, that's a good point, Tomboy. Tomboy made a reference to that phone call. Was that Maddie calling, or was that the other whether it be Madison Moy or Matthew Moy, which would be, or whoever, maybe is the DoorDash driver, because that name was listed next to the DoorDash driver too, wasn't it, guys?
Yes.
The letters. So thank you for pointing that out, Tomboy. Because I just automatically thought assumed that it was Madeline. That's interesting. Good point. Eve is asking, why did Bethany call Dylan first and not another roommate, her sorority sister, Xana or Maddie, for example? Maybe Bethany heard some stuff and said, what the hell was that? You know what I mean? Welcome back, Kim. And Rhode Island housewife, welcome. I believe Mogan, or they would have been clarified. Maybe. Though I don't know. They haven't really clarified a whole lot, so who knows? That was a really good catch on that, Tomboy. You got me thinking now. Damn it. And Norma said, I'm wondering if Maddie went somewhere else, and that's why Dylan called the driver to see. I don't know. There's so many questions that it's almost near impossible to get answers for. But there are a lot of questions. Welcome, local lass. And that, yeah, why call Dylan and not Xana? Good point. And the driver called MM and told her Dylan had called asking about her because she calls Dylan. I mean, we could speculate what these calls and texts are. It would drive us nuts. Bonnie Bailey's in the house. Welcome, dear. Good to see you. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope you're feeling okay. I know you had treatment. Just lay there and listen, dear. You don't have to do anything and just relax. Appreciate you being here. I don't know. Tomboy, Mama Bear, Eddie, anything to add to any of this here?
Well, I find it interesting. We're going back in discussing, by the way, the latest document that we've been looking at, where it says on
Right.
item number 10, it has like these bullet points, and the first one says incoming and outgoing native text messages.
Okay.
That's our March 31st, 2025 one that we just
Yeah, the one that I just had pulled up. Right. Hold on.
Yeah.
Let me find it here. This will be easier to find because it's right here. I think it's this one here. Yes. There it is. Okay.
So way down at the bottom on number 10.
All right, right there. The documents include artifacts and content demonstrating a variety of user interactions, including incoming and outgoing native text messages, which I'm going to imagine are standard text messaging, like that you would just text back and forth on a phone. Incoming and outgoing Snapchat messages, artifacts indicated by the application identifier. That's that whole, what I believe is an application title, I guess. Okay. The name for an application. And then it says voice and video calls conducted via Snapchat and the native phone dialer as well.
So that's the second time they're talking about the native phone, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm reading into it a little bit, but does that mean like Snapchat would be, what does that do? Is it like give one layer of separation between the person sending it and the origin?
It sounds like it could. Yeah, definitely. Thank you.
But there is a way to, it sounds like this is getting specific. There's a way to trace it back to where, which phone it was that sent it.
Well, stating, yeah, the phrase native phone dialer, which what native means is like the original or the, the authentic, the person, in my opinion, that owns the phone. I'll just say that. So voice and video calls conducted via Snapchat and the native phone dialer creation, modification, and deletion of multimedia files such as images and videos, stating that the person that owns the phone deleting multimedia files and images and videos from that phone, as well as creating and modifying. So whatever they've done with that in layman's terms is what that says to me, if that sounds right. It also says application usage, logs showing when specific apps were opened and closed, the internet browsing artifacts from that phone, and cookie data that would be showing access to particular websites or internet-based services. That is interesting. That's very interesting because I think that's very specific. Meaning, like, they're pointing all that out because they're going to specifically pinpoint every one of those things. There's a reason for that, obviously. That's a good point, housewife, that it would be done on all these phones. But I think they're pinpointing this specific situation for a reason, if that makes sense to anybody. This is Dylan's phone. Okay. That's who's referenced in here, and her father's, of course. But Dylan is the main character that we're looking at here. And they're pinpointing and specifying certain things within Dylan's phone and her phone service. And I gotta ask, oh yeah, like Indeed websites, particular websites and stuff like that. So they're gonna see everything that was accessed, all the text messages, Snapchats, everything, artifacts, all that stuff is gonna be accessed and shown. And they're looking into it for a reason.
You know what I feel like? Because if this was all if the defense had all this in their discovery, then there really wouldn't be any need for this.
Right.
It feels like the state said, here's DM's phone, here you go.
And left out all this other stuff.
Yeah, and the defense has found more than what the state gave them.
Well, and what I think happened, as we've seen many requests for discovery, right, Eddie? Many. And I think that what you just said hits the nail on the head. I think that they handed over what they handed over and said, here it is, and walked away. And they said, the defense said, no, wait a minute, guys, wait. Yeah. There's more here. I know there is. We know there's more here. Where is it?
Yeah.
And now they've had to bring this expert in to go find this stuff. And they found it, I'm guessing. And now that's going to be they're going to testify to that.
Yes.
So why did the state withhold this? Why did they hold this back when they handed this over?
Exactly. Yeah. What is, we've uncovered the fact that there's been deletion of multimedia files, such as images and videos.
Right.
Here's the images and videos.
That's really interesting.
Right.
Really interesting.
And the average user would not be able to do that. Who deleted these?
Yep. And we know that law enforcement, specifically the FBI and or the Secret Service. Welcome, Leslie. Good to see you. And Billy, I hope you're doing well, Billy. Thank you so much for the super sticker, Leslie. God bless. Appreciate that so much. But yeah, and that's true, Stitches, that Dylan's stepmother is an attorney. That's a fact. But yeah, this is like, centering in on this situation here in itself is a big deal to me. That's obviously important. Why did the state hold that back? Why didn't they turn it over with everything else? And like Eddie said earlier, I just have to go with this now. If you have nothing to hide, you hide nothing. But if you have something to hide, guess what? People got to go look for it. In a case like this, we know that the defense has been pulling all the stops now at this point. And that's why all these motions have been filed for all these different things. And now we have all this. And there's going to be more. I want to know what this was right here. This in specific, I really want to know what this was. Breaking this down to the nitty gritty at this point, they're bringing in a digital forensics person to be able to pull all this out, every bit of this, and see why these things were deleted, why these things were not handed over. That's a big deal to me, you guys. I'm sure it's going to be discounted by the state as, oh, it's nothing, it's no big thing. You know, they do this all the time, but this is important. It's a death penalty case, folks. All of this, every bit of this is important. Just as much as, like Ann said, 7 minutes are important. Remember that one. Every second is important, and every piece of information and evidence, every text message, every phone call, every bit of it is important, because that one text message could mean the whole thing to me. That's just my opinion. Tomboy, Mama Bear, Eddie, anything else with this?
No, that comes to mind.
Yvonne just said if they can prove an earlier timeline through Dylan's messages, and I think that's part of what they're doing, Yvonne, is working at that, towards that too. Something we've looked at a little bit here, quite a bit lately. Through Dylan's text messages saying, like it says, it started at 3 a.m. and not 4. Then BK has a definite alibi per his phone before it stopped connecting to the network, which is true. And I still think, I told you guys this the other day when we were in here, that I feel that the timeline is completely off now. I feel like that it's very possibly the original timeline that they went with first and foremost, which was the 3 to 4 a.m. And if that's the case, that changes everything, in my opinion. Okay. Welcome, Melissa. And Ben Reuter, welcome to both of you. That changes the whole thing. That's, again, my opinion, but it really does, I think. And I still never understood why that timeline had to be changed to begin with. Okay. I do now, but I didn't then. Let me say it right. I could understand why that timeline was changed now. I didn't then. Well, that's true. Norma had a good point. We now know that they weren't, that Bethany and Dylan were not held at gunpoint or anything because they were on their phones talking to people and stuff. That's true. For anybody that was thinking that. Tomboy said that's why they had to change the timeline, because they checked BK's phone log before he knew they did, in your opinion. That's a good point. That's a good point. Now I'm really thinking on things, you guys. Really thinking on things. Let me check. I'm checking chat right now to make sure I'm covering everything. There's no doubt in my mind at this point now, and I said this the other day, and I just can't not think this way. Ben says it's a cover up, and it appears it's not a very good one. But the question is why and who is benefiting? Very good questions. And at this point, I gotta say that I feel the same way now. I wasn't looking at it that way. I was trying not to look at it that way. Okay, the corruption side of it, because I just didn't want to believe that it was something that could happen. But guys, why would we be lied to throughout this whole thing? What other reason would there be to lie through the entire PCA, to tell us the things that we're told if that wasn't the case? I don't see another reason or what that could do. Callie Dime, welcome. Demon, the state should never hide anything, but it doesn't change the evidence. Well, it kind of does, though, Callie. Think about that. Okay. In my opinion, of course, if all these things were lied about, that does change the evidence per se, in my opinion. Does that make sense? I think it does, because, well, one, the evidence that they have, okay, the main thing is the DNA that's on the snap. No. I know what you're saying. The knife sheath DNA. I don't believe that was there at this point now. There's not a way for me to explain to you why right now.
But if we reverse it, it would be easier to see. So would the defense, would they grant them the same liberty? Like the defense can lie about everything.
Right.
And then come trial, Now they're telling a different story.
Right.
Well, people would call that out immediately and say, well, were you lying to me then, or are you lying to me now?
Of course. Of course.
That's a double standard at this point. You know, if the state is doing it,
Yeah,
then
it is.
which are we to believe, the first story or the second?
Right. That's true. That's absolutely true. That's absolutely true. And that was already stated, Tomboy, that they didn't send the knife sheath off to be tested. They sent a swab from the knife sheath is what happened. So when I found that out, the whole knife sheath changed for me. That whole thing changed. The phone pings were thrown out already, though, Callie. And the CCTV. What do you mean? The car that they saw? It's not verified what that vehicle was. It's very bad video. That they've even said they can't see what it is. But the phone pings were thrown out. That's been thrown out, and that's going to be proven, I believe. I don't know if you were here, Callie, when I read the affidavit that Cy Rafe put in. He filed stating that there has been clearly, I'm trying to remember the exact words, but there is exculpatory evidence that has been omitted from these documents. And exculpatory meaning evidence that can prove Brian's innocence. Why was it redacted? Why was it not given? You know what I mean? Norma said, think about it, a Q-tip to swab the inside of that buckle. Right. That's what they sent off to be tested. I do not trust that. I'm sorry, I just don't. If somebody were to hand me over, let's say this pen had DNA on it, and we were sending this off to have it tested at Othram, okay? I would want the pen sent. But what happened was somebody took a buccal swab and swabbed it and bagged it and sent the buccal swab off. Do you know what can be done with that? That I don't trust that. I just don't trust that at that point. I'm sorry. I mean, I know it's not my place, nor does it matter what I think, but knowing that they didn't send the whole sheath off and swab it at the lab and all this stuff, I don't trust it. I'm sorry. I just don't. Welcome, Richard McGrath. Richard says, with all the bad information in this case, there is a huge boom being hidden. And I mean, they are hiding a lot. Oh my God. That's my conclusion at this point. Exactly. And I think there's going to be even more. Well, again, Ray said it himself, that there's been such a huge misrepresentation. And I can't think of the exact words at this point, but a very much larger problem is being hidden, is what he said. And that's what I think relates to what you just said, Richard. And I believe that's coming. What it is, absolutely, I can't tell you, because it could be a number of different things relating to one big one, or it could be something huge that is going to completely flip this upside down. And I could see either thing happening at this point. Truly, I could. Thank you, SRB. Well, see, that's the problem, Melissa. She says at this point, it doesn't matter what happened. They have BK and they're never going to let him out. And that's what I feel. And I think Eddie agreed with me too. I feel like at this point, even with all of what we're seeing here, I still feel sadly that this man's going to be convicted of this. And that's not good. Okay. Unless there's a way that they can break this open. Okay. And I think Cy's affidavit is at least a starting point to be able to blow this wide open. I mean, does anybody else agree with me?
Yes, I agree. I
found
what you were looking for a moment ago. I can read it. It's from Cy Ray's affidavit. That's dated the 26th or 25th of March. I can't quite tell which.
Yeah.
So in the last paragraph, right in the middle of the paragraph, I'll pick it up. Anyone making such a claim would have to believe the court is incapable of reviewing physical evidence in possession of the state and defense. It rises to a level beyond simple miscommunication or oversight and is clear and intentional misrepresentation in the hopes to conceal a much larger issue.
Bingo. Those words say all they need to say, in my opinion. I don't know. And that, yeah, is it all based on if Hitler addresses that? Because he very well could just ignore that, you guys. I hope to God he doesn't, because that is scary to me. That's a big deal. Okay, a really, really, really big deal. And if the man ignores it and does not address it, that's it. As far as I'm concerned, it's done. And that's where I think that Brian's going to be stuck. Now, if he were to address it and they go forward with it and things start to happen, then that's a different story. Welcome, Danger Zone. Good to see you. Sure do. That's the whole thing. And because of that, Hitler will certainly not see. That's what I think too, Dan. And that's what I'm scared to death about. I just don't see how, with that being a document that is out to the world, that how this man can ignore that. And I mean, I know it doesn't matter what all the rest of us say, but I think it would be a big deal if he were to ignore this. If he does, it's going to take me. It's giving me Judge Gall vibes from Delphi. If that's ignored, I'm telling you right now. You guys know what I mean. Where she completely denied any other possibilities for defense for him, for Richard Allen, and would not allow certain things talked about in the courtroom. And there, in turn, the jury didn't hear all of the information, and now we have Richard Allen in a life sentence that, in my opinion, doesn't need to be. I feel like this is going to happen the exact same way. The judge wants Cyree alibi proof. Cyree hasn't answered him and is late turning it in. Why? I think he's waiting for that document to be addressed. Because from my understanding, Hitler's never addressed that yet, has he? Right. That's exactly it, Amanda. I see you, Chick Bait. Welcome. Everyone's scared of talking, even Brian, because he knows his family may get what. I don't know about that, but I can't give a specific location for his alibi without his phone GPS. Where is his physical phone? Is that what AT&T has been asking for 7 motions to compel? Hold on 1 second, guys. Good Lord, these dogs don't ever hush. As soon as you bump something, they're barking their crazy, the brains out. It's bigger than what any of. Oh, of course it is. Of course it is. That's obviously visible now. And that was stated a long time ago, and everybody was said we were all told we were crazy, if you guys remember, for even thinking that way. So, oh yeah, I know about that too, Greg. Welcome, by the way. I can't work out who the target was, but the expression "you hide a tree in a forest, so you hide a murder in a group of murders. Find a motive, and then you'll find the real killers." That's a good statement too, Ben. Very good statement. Let's see. Your opinion matters. I wanted to hear it. Yeah, I do too. I want to hear everybody's opinions on it. Welcome, Tara. I mean, Tomboy, Eddie, Mama Bear, express your opinions on all of this, if you will, please. I'm going to sit here quietly for a few.
Well, this case, the actual facts are in dispute. in this case. A good example of that, there's many, but one of them is that Moscow Police Department did a phone interview with Brian Koberger, and they did not turn over that discovery to the defense. So the defense will not be able to use it as an exhibit come trial. So this case is going to require all of us to be able to use our critical thinking skills. For example, like, how would you feel if you learned that the 19th of December was not when law enforcement was aware of Brian Koberger's name for the first time? What if you learned that they knew of him before that? They're refusing to disclose how, and will do anything to hide whatever it is that connects him to this crime. The work product that they've turned over in discovery will not match the way in which they actually came into believing that it was Brian Koberger, because it's been a false investigation from the beginning. It was never Brian Koberger. That is what would be implied if you learned that they knew of him before December 19th through that generic tip. So that alone will tell you that he didn't do the crime. Mama Bear, do you have anything to add?
No, you and Dago have nailed it. No, I don't have anything to add.
So yeah, they're hiding something. They will not say how they got to him. Their work product will not match anything that.
What's that, Danger? Long time no see. Sorry.
Yeah, their work product will not match the discovery that was turned over, showing that they knew about him before December 19th, but they did. See, that is one way to know that he did not do the crime. He is not guilty. Prior to all this, we all knew over 2 years ago, just by reasoning, that, if you're aware with how a prosecutor conducts their business, when they have someone that is truly guilty, they make sure they tie up all the ways in which they can link the guilty person to the crime. It is airtight by the time they're done. The prosecutor brings to trial such a case, and this is a significant case. This is a quadruple homicide. They would not be, using lies and loose connections and half-truths like they've done in this case, which was available and put out there from the beginning for all to see from day one. That is another way to know that he is innocent. Of course, another way would be that one person alone cannot do this crime. We just all know that.
Well, and you add on top of that his dyspraxia diagnosis. There's no way he could have.
Yeah, there's many ways to go about it, but absolutely, it's a cover-up. Dago.
Yes, sir.
When I first jumped up on the panel, I was we were talking about the last time we were together discussing this case.
Yeah, right.
It's interesting because we were talking about that. Where were they when the 911 call was made? And we discussed it. Whether they're in the backyard there on the patio. We were discussing if they were in the parking lot up front.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I don't know if we even entertained the thought of them being in the house.
I did say at one point that I think they could have started in the house, went outside, because you can kind of hear the change in the atmosphere, I guess you could say. And then, so it could be Eddie. They could have been inside or outside or inside, outside, inside. But it sounds like at one point it does say, or Dylan's on the phone and says, when they ask if she passed out, she says, I don't know, but we can go check. We have to go, Bethany. Come on. So I think they were outside at that point and then went inside. You know what I'm saying? Based on what we heard, that could be.
As soon as we ended the stream, it dawned on me, and I'm wondering how that would affect everyone's opinion or way of thinking about the 911 call. What if you learned that it was actually the case that they were all in the house during the 911 call? Would that be? And I'm asking chat too, and feel welcome to, let your thoughts be known on that. But if they were in the house during that time, would that be significant to you? Because as soon as we ended the live stream, it dawned on me that is the truth. They were all in the house. And we know that because on the 19th of November, in a press release, is when we first learned it. For those that didn't follow the press releases, we all heard it during the following day's press conference on the 20th. Mm-hmm. Captain Lanier told us all that the phone call was made from inside the house.
It came from inside the house. He did say that. I do remember.
Yes. So they were all in the house. Whoever was there at the scene during that time of the 911 call.
I see. I feel like they went in and out. That's what I keep wondering. But I think you're right at that aspect. I think they may have been inside, then went outside, and then went back inside, and then back outside when he said, get out, get out, get out. But I think it originated inside, if that makes sense. Do you know what I'm saying? Like the very beginning of it, I think, was inside. Welcome, Tippy.
You got a house full of however many people, and everyone is inquisitive.
I do agree.
Yeah.
I do agree.
I mean, there's no getting around the fact that everyone knew before the 911 call was made that everyone knew.
Yeah. I can agree with that. Welcome, Rhea and Jeff.
And it also fits. If there was an officer in that house, during and prior to the 911 call, of course the call is going to originate from inside the house. There would be no way for any passerby, because people live with their mobile device, their phone these days, and they take pictures of everything.
Mm-hmm.
If there was a commotion outside, who knows? There's a risk of someone taking a picture of it, making a video of it, whatever, recording it.
Very true.
So,
yeah, I do believe it. Well, I'm going to say this, Jeff. I agree with you. I do. After what we heard the other night, I absolutely positively believe that the call started inside. From what I heard, I'm going to say this, that I think they went outside and we're going to go through the window into Xana's room because we hear him say about taking off the screen. And she says, no, don't do that. And then I think they go back inside and shove the door open. That way he goes in and sees what he sees. And that's when they all say, get out. That's how I think this whole thing went down now after hearing what we heard the other night.
I've never heard of such as not being able to get the door open. I've never heard.
I get it. But I hear him say something about removing the screen and she starts to get kind of freaked out and then they stop. So
but here's the thing, cleaning up a video in order to be able to hear things better, removing whatever background noises is one thing. And then if that enables the listener to hear something clearly, then we wouldn't have to say or add our opinion, right?
Right.
We wouldn't have to say, okay, right there, there's what they're saying, sounds like, or
Right.
what I heard was, you wouldn't have to add text messages to anything. You just play it and allow it to be heard, rather than, because here's the thing is, when all this time we had this picture of like these students by a dumpster outside, and then now we're hearing, now, okay, see, we're trying to make it fit in our mind, and we're changing. And sometimes, it, in a case like this, if you think outside the box, it gets us closer to the truth.
Yeah.
But sometimes it leads us astray, and it leads us away from the truth.
It absolutely could. Yes.
Based on our own opinions and bias. Now, if that's truly what they said, then there's no getting around it. But we would all have to know beyond a reasonable doubt that that's what they said.
Right. And I agree with you on that there, Dan, too. Why did they not say specifically in the PCA how the bodies were positioned? I mean, that's a good question. I would imagine that they would want that. It would be a detailed. They don't have to do it, Dan, I guess, but it would be more detailed and it would make things easier. But they didn't do that. So is it done on purpose? Could be. Or was it because it was a what's the word I'm looking for here? I don't want to say uneducated, but lack of experience, PCA written with lack of experience, I guess, in my opinion. I don't know. It was overwritten, and that made me, we all knew welcome justice. And let me bring that up, bro. I know I'm jumping all over the place because I'm thinking of 15 different things at once. But I want to bring that up and go back to something we talked about, Eddie, with the PCA. Remember last year, a year before, we talked about how overwritten that was for a PCA, for an affidavit. It seemed to be a lot more than what we read in a lot of other PCAs. Okay. Well, at this point now, I believe that was done on purpose, that it was overwritten purposely now. Okay. From what I'm seeing, it seems to be building this story that purposely. Okay. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Yes.
Okay.
The more the words, the less the meaning, type of thing.
Yeah. And I truly now at this point, it was overwritten. Everybody, even people for the prosecution, have stated that was way overwritten. Well, guys, it seems to be we know a reason why now. Think about it, okay? With all the lies that were thrown into it, they did that on purpose. I'm feeling there's no way to accidentally do that. So, and it seems to be to create this narrative. I don't see any other way to look at that now. And yeah, thank you, local. Local last just said, well, when somebody lies, they tend to over-explain that. Facts. That's a fact. How many times have you guys heard somebody tell a lie and they over-explain that just to get to the point, knowing that they're just trying to describe it to you so that you believe them? That's what happens.
That couldn't have been explained any better.
Right. Okay. Yeah, Jeff. Okay. The lies, the whole PCA is based on lies, Jeff. I see you have a question mark there, as in you're questioning me saying that. The whole thing is lies now with what we've seen. Come on. I know how you believe and what you think, Jeff, and I truly respect that. But you got to know. You see it. You can see it. To do a PCA with it being underexplained could have had it sent back to them. Wasting button. No, but it could have been written truthfully at least. They didn't do that. Okay. One of the first things in it was a lie, which was that Dylan stating that in her statement that she was woken up at 4 a.m. by what sounded like somebody playing with a dog. That never happened. I just gave you one. You can't think of one lie as you sit here. Give me one instead of the general statement that it's. I just did. I just gave you one. Yeah, that's another good point too. Why would you not be specific about location and position of the bodies? I mean, I've seen other PCAs that do that. Maybe they didn't choose to, but it's just saying. Frozen shock phase. There's another lie. Thank you. And that's true. Justice is right. Bill Thompson even said the PCA was irrelevant now. And I think it's because he knows. Didn't Dylan, and if you tell me that she slept for that few minutes, Jeff, I can't even answer you. Didn't Dylan enter a phone contact at 3:51? You did say it. I can't believe you said that. So you're going to assume that she entered a phone contact at 3:51 and fell asleep until 4. Come on, Jeff. Dude, I have more respect for you than that, but come on. 8 minutes. She slept for 8 minutes and then was woke up again. I don't believe that, Jeff. I do not believe that. That makes no sense to me. No disrespect to you, but I can't. The 911 operator didn't get the address until 52 seconds into the call, so it took less than 3 minutes. Dude, sorry, dude. I mean, dude, I don't know if you're a male or female, but it wasn't even 3 minutes for law enforcement to arrive there. And in the meanwhile, let me say this again. Sorry, I'm getting frustrated because that's why I'm over talking myself. In the background, we're hearing radio traffic before they're even sent there. Explain that one to me, somebody, please. Willie came in here this morning and said he can't get that out of his head. I can't either because it's there. You hear it. It took less than 3 minutes for the police to arrive, park, get up into the house midday on a Sunday. That's fast. It was like under a minute, Ben. It was under a minute. There were no sirens. There was none in the background coming at all until the very, very, very end. You can hear in the background, you can hear car 47 en route. That's the other Officer Smith, I'm going to believe. Car 46 was Nunez. So I don't see the awoken at approximately 4 as a lie. How'd she know it was around 4 a.m.? Maybe because of the phone act. Okay, Jeff. You believe what you believe, and I will believe what I believe, respectfully. It is what it is, and that's just what it'll be. I'm not going to be disrespectful, but it's clear cut, in my opinion. And I think there's many other people that see it and hear it and feel it the same way. To exclude details in order to create a narrative is misleading, therefore lies. And it was stated by a professional, an expert, that the prosecution is misleading the court in many ways. I mean, it's in a document. It says it in a document. Okay, so there's that too. Yeah, there's a lot of things in the background of that call, the original call that wasn't doctored. And when it was not that you didn't do a good job, Jeff, you did a good job for what you were doing, but when that was taken back out, you could hear things in the background that you didn't hear again. And there's a lot in that background. There's a whole lot in that background. There's a whole lot of whispering too, you guys. And I don't trust that either. It's just easy to say something that we don't have all the info on is a lie. I can't get on board. I've been alone on things before. And that's fine. I get that. And I know you're always going to go in one direction, Jeff. You always have with this. And that's fine. Like I said, I have to look at it for what I believe it is. You know, I see it for what it is. And that I've tried to see it the other way. I've looked away from the way that I see it right now and tried to almost force myself to see it the other direction, the way that you do. I can't do it. I can't. I'm good, Trouble. What do you want me to play again, Trouble? Phones are equalized to isolate voices. Even StreamYard does it. Put echo cancellation on and play a guitar while you talk. All you hear is the voice. Yeah, my microphone has the same thing. So is the voice, not the guitar. I understand that, but you're missing what I'm saying, though. I know what you're saying. I get it. The sound in the background audio. Hold on a minute. Just a minute. Who sent me that? I think this is it here. Hold on a second, you guys. Or no, did I get it? I got one clean in the email. Yeah, I did. Hold on one moment. Sorry, you guys. Where's it at? Where's it at? Where's it at? Hold on. Where's the date? Where did it go? Where did it go? Okay, hold on. All right.
What bothers me is no one's on the phone saying she's dead. That's what bothers me. Because they know at this time that she's dead.
I think yes.
So now, I believe the police officer's here and he's showing up to the scene, or the medic. I'm not too sure. And she says, "Is she not breathing?" And the neighbor is like, "I think dead."
Okay. If there's a defibrillator available, send someone to get it now and tell me when you have it.
H who did enhanced audio in the phone call. And if it's not a voice, it is sound.
All right, hold on.
And he cleared this up pretty good, but let's see if we could just play the regular audio and hear what we heard before.
11:55 a.m. 42 seconds, November 13, 2022. 911 location of your emergency. Hi, something is happening. Something happened in our house. We don't know what. What is the address of the emergency? 1122.
See, in this one, it seems like he took a lot of sound out of the file. And I could just tell by the background noise he's removing. Let me see if I could go.
Dago, is there another way, a different audio that we could listen to? I'm not saying that this one is bad, but if we do our own reaction to a, from start to stop 911 call rather than a reaction to someone's reaction, because this could get tedious, because going through and listening to his reaction to it is like kind of.
I have one other one, but I think this guy
Again.
talks too. Hold on, let me see. 1 minute. I don't know. Tomboy, is he talking this one too? Does he drop down?
Someone suggested Shine Louder did a good one.
That's the one I have right. That's the one I have right here.
Okay.
We'll see. Hold on.
Emergency.
It gets louder in a second here. Hold on. It takes a few minutes for him to get to the parts, and he's going to stop it and start it a few times, but maybe he doesn't talk in here. It's just stop and starting.
What is the rest of the address?
Oh, Kings Road.
Okay. And is that a house or an apartment?
The address, 1122 King Road.
And what's the phone number that you're calling from?
What's your phone number?
And tell me exactly what's going on.
One of the roommates just passed out, and she was drunk last night, and she's not waking up.
Okay.
Oh, and they saw some man in their house last night. Yeah.
And are you with the patient? Okay, I need someone to keep the phone, stop passing it around.
Can I just tell you what happened pretty much?
What is going on currently? Is someone passed out right now?
Passed out? We gotta go check.
Find that out.
Yeah, I'll come. Come on, Lipton, we gotta go check. But we have to. Is he passed out?
Where is that one at, Tomboy? That's one I was trying to find. But he talks through it. That's what Eddie was trying to avoid, was have him talk through it. That's the one we covered. The first one I had up was by Outcast. If he had one without him talking, is what Eddie's trying to say, that because we're basically reacting to him reacting, and it takes all that out. Welcome, Hemisphere. Thank you for joining us, bud. We can find it without that. That's what we were trying to find. Sorry, trying to find.
Does anybody else have suggestions on where is a good one to listen to?
The one that came from Channel 4 didn't even have the first one I ever played on live. It's on his page without him talking. Okay, I will pull that one then, because these are all great. You guys all did this. The work you did, I'm not degrading it by any means. Don't get me wrong. We're just trying to avoid any extra talking in it, I guess. Hold on a minute.
Mic check 1 2. Anybody hear me?
I can hear you.
All right.
What's the channel name? Is it Outcast, or is it, because the only thing that comes up is the band Outcast? He's not in here today. He was here the other day, but or didn't he have a different name? Hey, Bry Guy. Yeah, and you kind of got to break it down like Jeff was talking about with what we're hearing by syllables, and it helps you to kind of more form the words. Okay. Hold on. We'll get there. Well, I don't know if it's the same one that I got from Channel 4, Jeff. That doesn't seem to have the stuff in the background either. You can't hear it. You know what I mean? That's the first one I played ever. Unless it's the same one. If you can go ahead and send it, Jeff, and I'll try that one too. But you do hear radio traffic in the background when they're talking. And that ain't coming from 911. Outcast. Oh, that's why I spelled it like the band. Sorry. Okay. Uh Hold on. Can you send me a link, Tomboy, or drop me a link in Discord to it to get to the right channel? Because this is a bunch of Outcast, the music group that I'm getting. Bear with me, guys. We're almost there. Thank you guys for joining us tonight for this. Again, appreciate you very much. Is it the Outcast podcast? No. I can't grab that out of the chat, Tomboy, because I'm not allowed. That's why I said just drop it in Discord and I'll grab it. SRB gave it to me. Okay, hold on. Thank you, SRB. 1 second. All right, you guys. Well, first and foremost, of course, I would love for you guys to subscribe to this channel too.
Diego, back chat.
Okay. Aha. Thank you, Bear. There we go. All right. This is the one without the extra talking in it, right? I believe. Okay, here it is. All right, here we go. This is the 911 call. It's been broken down and broken apart so you can hear things better. I see you, Brian. Okay, hemisphere. Okay, he said he put it in two. First part is the background noise. Second part is going to be the vocal side of it.
Okay, I'm gonna let you go since he's in. Do you have a defibrillator? Yes, you have one. Are you talking to the officer? Are you talking to the officer? Second, November 13, 2022. 911 location of your emergency. Hi, something is happening. Something happened in our house. We don't know what. What is the address of the emergency? 1122. 1122.
That's what I hear clearly too, as I'm trying to take the screen off. And I heard that the other night very clearly as well. But not everybody hears the same thing, I guess. But that's what I heard. In the background, you hear a male voice saying that, in my opinion. So I'll let it all play, and then I'll go back.
What is the rest of the address? Oh, Kings Road. Address? Oh, Kings Road. Oh, address? Oh, address? Oh, address? Oh, address? What? What is the rest of the address? Oh, Kings Road. Okay. And is that a house or an apartment? It's a house. Can you repeat the address to make sure that I have it right?
I'll talk to you guys. We live at the White, so we're next to them.
I need someone to repeat the address for verification.
The address, 1122 King Road.
And what's the phone number that you're calling? And what's the phone number that you're calling from?
What's your phone number?
and tell me exactly what's going on.
Absolutely. Everybody and anybody, please. That's what it's all about, guys. Say what you feel, type what you feel, whatever it is. Everybody's opinions and feelings are just as important as the others, guys, and everybody will respect each other's feelings and opinions as well. So
One of the roommates has passed out, and she was drunk last night, and she's not waking up.
Okay.
Oh, and they saw some man in their house last night. Yeah. Hi,
And are you with the patient? Okay, I need someone to keep the phone, stop passing it.
see, you guys, that yikes, that wasn't heard before. Like I said, whatever version of this that Channel 4 put out which is the first one I ever played here, the full thing live on here. There's a lot of stuff that was missing from that, and that's supposedly the original call. Hearing this, these things are appearing out of here that they had taken out, and that's what I didn't like about this. Gordon says no. I think she says no. Don't keep her away, you two. And I think this is when Ethan's siblings showed up. That would make some sense. Absolutely would make some sense. Good point, Gordon.
Can I just tell you what happened pretty much?
What is going on currently? Is someone passed out right now?
I don't really know, but pretty much at 4 a.m.
Okay, I need to know what's going on right now if someone is passed out. Can you find that out?
Y'all come on. Y'all.
Can you find that out?
Y'all
Find that out?
Y'all come on, you gotta go check. But we have to.
That's one of my biggest problems with this call, guys. Why do you have to go check? You made the call originally as someone passed out, right or wrong. That was the original call. That's what it was all about. Is someone passed out. And then we hear, I don't know, we got to go check. I don't understand that. That makes no sense to me whatsoever, but I'm just going to let that go for now.
She's not waking up.
Okay. Okay. One moment. I'm getting help started that way.
And there in the background, you hear radio traffic. Just as she says, I'm getting help started that way. Okay. I mean, that could be.
Okay, and how old is she?
She's 20.
20, you said?
Yes, 20 here.
Okay.
Yes, 20 here. Yes, 20 here.
Okay.
Hello? Hello?
Okay.
Hello? Hello?
Okay, I need. Hello? Okay, I need someone to stop passing the phone around because I've talked to 4 different people.
Okay. Sorry, they just gave me the phone.
Is she breathing?
Hello?
Is she breathing?
No.
Okay.
You talk to them, okay? I can't talk to them. I need you to talk to them. You talk to them.
Hello.
Okay. I've already sent the ambulance and law enforcement. Stay on the line. If there is a defibrillator available, send someone to get it now and tell me when you have it.
Say that again. There's a police here right now.
Okay. If there's a defibrillator available, send someone to get it now and tell me when you have it.
We don't have one.
Have it.
We don't have one. I can see it. 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 Did you I can see it. I can see it. Did you have a defibrillator? Yes, we have one.
Are you talking to the officer?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to let you go since he's there with you and can help you.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Okay. Hold on. I'm trying to stop that before it goes off. Hold on. I don't know what I just did. Sorry. All right. So, any thoughts now? Welcome, Doc.
My thoughts are the same as it was last night when we talked about it.
There's things in there that I'm hearing that don't make sense.
I still can't get past the dispatcher not letting whoever that was try to explain what happened. And she was cut off right back to the narrative.
Yeah.
I can't get past that. Can't get past that. That's because, like I said the other night, dispatchers should be getting more information to pass along to law enforcement that's on their way. And she kept cutting them off.
Well, here's the thing I do know. I'll give you this. Protocol is for a 911 operator to assess the direct situation. They don't want you talking about, and I get why she said when she started to explain what happened at 4 a.m., she wanted to know what was going on right then and now because you have to deal with that situation first and foremost. So that part I get. Okay. So I wish she would have allowed her to say it. I get that because it would have explained something else maybe, but it didn't. So there's that. But I do understand that. The thing I'm not understanding is from my understanding with 911 operators. I know a few of them. I was friends with some of them that have worked with 911 for years. Okay. And what I understand, but here's the difference though. I'm in Ohio. That's Idaho. I don't know if their situations are different. From what I understand though, with a 911 operator, that they have their own cubicles. Each one of them has their own booth, their own space, their own room. There is to be no other stuff going on around them, for distraction reasons, okay? And it's either a keyboard with buttons, a foot pedal that you use with your foot to talk and not talk, okay? And we shouldn't be picking up the radio traffic in the background that sounds like it's standing there. I don't understand how that's coming through, where that's coming from. It sounds like they're standing next to somebody that's got a portable in their hand, okay? Meaning Dylan. Now, secondly, I to try to figure out where they were. You don't hear anybody walking up or downstairs, which tells that's why I
Check your mic. Check your mic. Mute it.
Sorry about that.
I was
Stupid microphone drives me nuts. Sorry, guys. But yeah, you hear all of. Where did I cut off at? What did you hear up to? What I was saying?
You was talking about the cubicles.
Oh,
911
geez.
cubicles.
Okay. So, like I said, they have their own little space, like I do right here. Okay, and there's not supposed to be any distractions to pick up any other noise in the background. They have the foot pedals and/or the keypad on their keyboard. They push a button, they talk. That's all you hear. You don't hear anything else. Or release the foot pedal. You don't hear anything else. But we're hearing radio traffic in the background, like Dylan is standing next to somebody with a portable in their hand. I don't understand that. So that was a problem for me through this whole thing. What the hell else did I say? We don't hear any people walking up and down stairs, so I gathered at that point we're on that secondary level, which is level with the backyard. No stairs were climbed.
I did hear stop, stop. That's all we can see. Or stop, stop. That stop, stop. That's all we can see. I heard that.
Yeah, you hear that in the background. Thank you, SRB. I hear him state that he's trying to take the screen off. She sounds like she starts to flip out, and then it changes. So I don't know, guys. I don't know. Anybody else? Everybody else?
Yeah. So recall moments ago, I reminded everybody this is a case where the actual facts are in dispute. And here's a good example of that. So, like, if we're going to have a discussion about the 911 call, what is your mindset? Because we have to begin to be able to condition our minds to think like there's two realities here. So, when we discuss this 911 call, are we like, is our mindset that it's authentic? Like, how could they not see the, the gore and smell? But in reality, don't overthink it, because this is all scripted. What's going on there is they're being coached to make a 911 call. It has to be made. It's ugly business, but it has to be done, because if it's not done, then that would even be more suspicious. So here we go. They're going to give it their best shot and make a, authentic, as much as they can, authentic looking 911 call. So there's no doubt a 911 call is happening, and their reaction is truly genuine to what they're seeing, but they have to act like they're not seeing it. So I hope you understand. I hope that makes sense.
It does. I understand what you're saying. Like I said, going from the very beginning, okay, with what he said too. The call comes in. We were always told that as a person that was passed out. In the beginning of the call, and they get to the point where they're asking her if she's passed out. We don't know. We have to go check. I don't understand that. You made this call for that reason. Why do you have to go check?
Let's add this to that. That's a good place to pick up. So let's add this into the mix. Let's take a roll call. Like, who all is there? We know the two surviving witnesses are there.
Yep.
Well, we have another vehicle in the driveway. That's Ethan's siblings' vehicle. We don't know. Does that mean both of them or just one of them?
My understanding is that they did show up at some point together, both of them.
We have on the phone call, we have EA, right?
We have, there's EA, Dylan, Bethany, and Hunter Johnson. All those four are on the phone. Plus, I think there's another male in the background I hear too.
And then didn't we always hear that Jasmine and Jeff Kernodle, what time did they arrive? It had to be before the 911 call.
I'm not sure. That's a good point, though. I'm not sure.
Well, so we have a number of people in the house at this point, regardless. Quite a number. That's a good amount of people.
Yeah, there's a lot of people there.
And before the 911 call is made, that was their purpose. Right. They were called for the same purpose of the 911 call. My roommate needs help, right? They're not waking up.
Right.
So all these people in the house, and what are they doing? Like standing in the same spot. Everybody knows what like a football huddle looks like, and they're all
Well,
joined. Their arms are on each other's shoulder, and they're all facing inward and forming a circle. I mean, is that what they're doing? And nobody's looking outward and walking around as independents. They're just acting as one.
It's a good point and a good question. And being that you brought that up, I want to add one more thing to that. In that whole call, we were told that at some point that there's audio at some point that night earlier on that we hear there's a dog barking incessantly. We don't hear any dogs barking, and there's a lot of people at that house. Supposedly, even during this 911 call, there's a lot of people. I don't hear a dog anywhere. And I would imagine, based on what we were told again, they said they found him in a room. We don't hear him barking. You would think with all those people there, he'd start barking, right or wrong. It's just something I'm thinking about. I would think we would hear him, but we don't. So I don't know. I have questions about that too. So you go ahead, Eddie. I'm sorry. There's a lot about this that bothers the hell out of me. And I'm guessing I know why, but still, there's things we should be hearing that we're not, and there's things that we shouldn't be hearing that we are, if that makes any sense.
So yeah, we can assume at the point of when this officer arrives magically with a defibrillator in his hand, we can assume that at that moment, whoever was in the house during the 911 call is coming out of the house, save for the one officer who's already there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, definitely during the 911 call and throughout the 911 call, they were all inside the house.
Mm-hmm.
Had to have been.
That's true, and we were told too, the very first press conference that they talked about it, that the call originated from inside the home.
Yes.
So there's that too.
Yeah, so the state won't even, there's no point in us trying to find another way to see it differently, because the state is going that way, and I'm sure the defense would go that way too. That's one of the occasions, and not everything is a lie in this case. I mean, he did drive to Albertsons. No one would dispute that. He was driving around that night. And, many other things are actually true. 4 people died. Bethany made a phone call, 911. So not everything has to be in dispute here.
Yeah, there are some truths to it. I agree.
Kind of makes me think they're dropping little tidbits here and there in their docs too. They're not going to just throw everything out there and say, "Okay, here it is." This is full on speculation. I just know this fact. Early on before they moved the trial, it was up in Latah. There was a moment on one of those hearings where I felt, as we was watching it live, that Bill Thompson and Judge was on the same page with each other, tag teaming the defense. And I'm like, Then come fast forward a little time later to hear Judge is going to retire after moving it to, I'm sorry, I'm blanking the name.
Ada County.
Ada County. Ain't it funny how he went to retirement and as outspoken as Santa Claus has been during those hearings up there in Latah, he's been relatively real quiet. And then I'm hearing that this is going to be the last time he's going to be prosecuting anyway. He's looking to retire after this.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking there's a whole lot of cover up going on here. It's what I'm speculating, of course. I don't know, but I'm just saying. It just seems like there's a whole lot of speculation around this whole case. That they tore down the house because at the time, didn't want the students to keep walking past that house with all that going on. And then I heard in the interview from the president of the college saying that the memorial that they have at school for the students may not be there much longer. So it's kind of like they're really in a hurry to move on. Then it got me thinking, well, maybe they just wanted an outsider to point at, so it don't really matter to him how that's going to turn out. You know what I'm saying? So it's just that's
Yeah,
where I'm
no,
at
I
with
do.
it. That's where I'm at with it. You know, it's just everything that we're hearing so far is just little tea leaves.
There's a
falling
lot.
out.
There's a lot.
And we won't even know. We probably find out more and more when the trial comes along. But just say if something major comes out between now and trial where it makes it real like, yeah, we're just gonna have to throw this case out because you got an innocent man sitting there facing the gun squad, and we just don't have real evidence of knowing what really happened and how that was happening. Because we all can agree the PCA is, man, can't believe that. Really? You mean to tell me that one man with a knife, a K-bar knife, got into a house, killed 4 students, walked out, leaving a bloody shoe print by the door?
Well,
Uh,
that didn't even happen that way. But yeah, keep going. You're right.
yeah, I'm just saying it just read like a a novel,
Right.
like a murder story, you know. And then you're telling me the connections with Koberger is up there under learning about serial killers and all this and the psychology of it all. That's been going on for years,
Mm-hmm.
especially since Bundy, and he was the everybody was trying to dissect Bundy because Bundy was very conniving. You look at him, he presents himself one way, and you're thinking he's respectful. He's got all these credentials of going to college and all this and that and the other, and you would never believe that behind closed doors, this is who he is
Agreed.
and what he is.
Agreed.
So for years, the psychology of learning what a serial killer is, that's been going on for years. So by Koberger going to and having classes with this uh, teacher learning about BTK and all them, he had my humble opinion, and from what it sounded like to me, he's had a goal in his life to where he was wanting to be in law enforcement and to be a detective, to be, you know, in the crime scenes and doing all detective work. That's my thing with it all. So I don't know. I have to see how it all shakes out. But it's nice to hear speculating. I mean, I've been following Bob for a while, so and what he puts out is kind of makes it a little bit more believable. Not to say it's true or not true or whatever, but he's just like everybody else. It's just speculation. We really truly don't know
Right.
until it all comes out. From what I'm hearing, though, I think everybody there's a lot of people that's up in the top that's got their hands dirty in this mess,
Right.
and a lot of people is going to have to be exposed.
Well, if that happens, yeah. But I don't know that it will.
I think it's a money game myself.
I really can't figure out a motive. And I think it would be at this point a lot to try to even figure that out. If there's something, just like Cyrus said, there is a way bigger issue that is being covered up, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I had to agree with that 100%. What is it? Are they covering it up for? That so
Thank you, Boriqua,
that
very much.
that means a whole lot to them. I mean,
Well, I mean, in my opinion, when something's being covered up like this, it's due to, you know, you're trying to hide something from the public. That's my opinion, of course, but what that is what nobody seems to understand. So that's what my biggest issue is, um, with this whole thing, based on everything you just said. Hold on, God, sorry guys, I'm trying to do two things at once, so if I sound distracted, I don't mean to. Um, but I agree with you on that. Most of what you said, yeah, absolutely makes perfect sense to me. Okay. Um, so anyway, moving forward. Sorry, guys. Um, let's see. The motive was whatever they knew. All four. See, and a lot of people have said that to me, is that they knew something that they weren't supposed to, that there was some involvement with something that. There's been a lot of theories on that, and if that ever were to come out, that could answer the questions to this whole thing. Why? Okay, but who? That's the problem. Is who? Because at this venture, at this juncture, whatever you want to call it, I don't think it's Brian. Brian had no connection to them whatsoever in any way, shape, or form. He had no connection to anybody that was connected to them in any way, shape, or form. Um,
and it's kind of hard to believe that he sat there with a brand new ski mask and a K-bar night sheet he bought off of Amazon while he was in Philadelphia. I don't know if he knew about him or what. I'm gonna have to go by. He didn't even know him, and he's plotting a murder,
well, that's the other
kill
thing.
somebody on the other side of the country. I don't.
That's the other thing. They want us to believe, based on their narrative, they want us to believe that he bought 10 months before the murders. He bought a mask. 8 months before the murders, he bought a knife, a sheath, and a sharpener, with no target in mind. And then he moved to Idaho or to Pullman, and then decided, and he chose his target, that he was pre-planning this the whole time. That doesn't sit right for me. It's hard to believe that.
And they're supposed to be targeted, but it's kind of hard to target when you don't know who you're targeting. That's crazy to me.
And that's what I question. So why? He just wanted to do this. That was his motive. He just wanted to do this, and said, "Well, I'll figure it out when I get there." Come on.
So there has to be some form of stalking involved, but you got Bill Thompson up in Latah court saying that stalking was not.
There was no
involved.
stalking.
There was
That's
no
right.
stalking at all.
He did not know who they were.
Which is an interesting point, because now they're trying to suggest that they intend to bring the fact that he was stalking 23 times, not 11, to trial.
Of course.
So how?
Yeah, right. Thank you, Eddie, for bringing that up. They started off with saying that he was at that house or in the range of that house 12 different times. How did that go from 12 to 23? This is what I'm saying. They keep changing things. Every time something is either proved wrong that the state puts out or the defense comes back with something else, they throw something else out there. Thank you, Eddie, for bringing that up again.
And then I remember, was it Bill said something about the PCA don't even matter no more. I did remember him saying
it's irrelevant. Yeah, he said the PCA is irrelevant. Yes. Yeah, the prosecution is sounds like in some sense is working for the defense sometimes.
Yeah, and I think the reason for that is it gets back to what I was trying to communicate moments ago is how did you get to Brian Koberger? What part of the PCA is it?
Right.
And of course, the answer to that is there is nothing in the PCA that they're going to state is the point at which they got to Brian Koberger. They want to say it was a generic tip on the 19th of December from
Mm-hmm.
the FBI.
And if and my question is, and the big time question is, as far as prosecution, only ties they have is touch DNA on a button snap of a night sheet.
Right.
So how the heck did Brian Koberger's touch DNA go on a night sheet? How?
That's the question of the year. You know what? I want to read this again. I'm gonna read this to you guys one more time. We've read this a million and one times. I don't believe anything that says anymore. I think it's junk now. Okay, but I'm gonna read this out loud one more time. Okay, word for word, and listen to every word of it, you guys, because it's crazy now. So the below information is provided by Brett Payne, who is duly appointed, qualified, and an acting peace officer within the county of Latah. We don't need all that. So on November 13th of 2022 at approximately 4 p.m., Moscow Police Department, Sergeant Blaker and I responded to 1122 King Road, Moscow, Idaho, hereafter the King Road residence, to assist with scene security and processing of a crime scene associated with 4 homicides. Upon our arrival, the Idaho State Police forensic team was on scene and was preparing to begin processing the scene. Moscow police officer OFC Smith, one of the initial responding officers to the incident, advised that he would walk me through the scene. OFC Smith and I entered the King Road evidence through the bottom floor door on the north side of the building. That would be the front door. OFC Smith and I then walked upstairs to the second floor. Smith directed me down the hallway to the west bedroom on the second floor, which I later learned through Xana's driver's license and other personal belongings found in the room was Xana Kernodle's hereafter Kernodle room. Just before this room, there was a bathroom door on the south wall of the hallway, which would be the right. As I approached the room, I could see a body, later identified as Kernodle's, laying on the floor. Kernodle was deceased with wounds which appeared to have been caused by an edged weapon. Okay. Now, this is also going to bring us back to something within this 911 call, you guys. This will kind of give us a visual of this call and how this, in a sense, how things were seen maybe as they went in. Because I don't believe that they probably touched a whole lot. Because Mavitt didn't come till after he showed up. So he saw this before Mavitt touched anything. I'm going to tell you that. We're to believe that nobody touched anything. That's what we're supposed to believe. That's what protocol is. That's what I'm guessing. Okay. With wounds to appear. Okay. So also in the room was a male later identified as Ethan Chapin. Hereafter, Chapin was also deceased with wounds later determined by the autopsy. Now, I'm going to say something that Dan brought up a little bit ago that does make sense to me. They don't describe. They describe where the bathroom is on the north wall or whatever. They're not giving you any kind of a description as to how they're found in the room other than right inside the door. Okay. So backing up, because somebody just asked me where Xana was. So just as I approached the room, I could see a body later identified as Kernodle's laying on the floor. So she was on the floor. It doesn't say where, but it says on the floor anyway. And it says the autopsy report provided by Spokane County Medical Examiner, blah, blah, blah. Okay. To be caused by sharp force injuries. I then followed Smith upstairs to the third floor of the residence. The third floor consisted of 2 bedrooms and 1 bathroom. The bedroom on the west side of the floor was later determined to be Kaylee Gonsalves. Hereafter, Goncalves' room, I later learned from review of Nunez's body cam, there was a dog in the room when Moscow police officers initially responded. Okay, now that clarifies something if this is right. Okay. We're told right here and there that I later learned from review of Officer Nunez's body cam there was a dog in the room when Moscow police officers initially responded. In turn, which is why I'm here, like believing that there should be a dog barking while they're making this call. But okay. The dog belonged to Gonsalves and her ex-boyfriend Jack Decor. I found out from my interview with Jack Decor on November 13th of 22 that he and Gonsalves shared the dog. Smith then pointed out a small bathroom on the east side of the third floor. This bathroom shared a wall with Madison Mogan's. Hereafter, Mogan's bedroom, which was situated on the southeast corner of the third floor. As I entered this bedroom, I could see two females in the single bed in the room. Both Gonsalves and Mogan were deceased, with visible stab wounds. I also later noticed what appeared to be a tan leather knife sheath laying on the bed next to Mogan's right side. Now, see, I never grabbed this before when we read this, but it makes me wonder. Right there where he says, I also later noticed. So you didn't initially see it when you were standing at that door like it states in the other one, right? Am I wrong about that or am I correct?
Correct.
Okay. I just want to clarify that. Thank you, Eddie. I also later noticed what appeared to be a tan leather knife sheath laying on the bed next to Mogan's right side when viewed from the door. The sheath was later processed and had K-Bar USMC and the United States Marine Corps Eagle Globe and anchor insignia stamped on the outside of it. The Idaho State Lab later located a single source of male DNA, which didn't happen. They didn't find anything. Idaho didn't. That happened at Othram, remember? Suspect profile left on button snap of the knife sheath. So that's a misconstruity there.
Yeah, because I remember the first time when they ran it, they didn't find nothing. But they went through Dakotas, which was like a nationwide, whoever, prisoners.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
stuff like that. Yeah.
Right. Right. The Idaho didn't find it. Othram did. So, and I think Idaho ran it twice and they didn't get anything off of it, if I'm correct. I could be wrong about that, but I'm just saying. So,
And like Tomboy said, it was next to her, not under.
right.
So-
next to her.
With that being said, I can't help but to imagine with two stabbing victims, they're both of them stabbed and bled out on that bed, and that knife sheath is only got touch DNA, and no other DNA is on that sheet.
Right.
There's blood
Well,
on it.
There's blood on it. There's blood
But
on it. That's how they
then
found the other DNA.
Then I heard later on that during the autopsy of Katie, they didn't find any DNA connecting Koberger to her at all.
No, they didn't with any of them. None of them. There was no DNA that was found. Brian Koberger, they looked at all of everything he owned, his car, his home, his office, his parents' home, everything. They found no DNA belonging to any of these victims on anything that man owned. Nothing. Okay? So there's that. Let me get back to reading this real quick. As part of the investigation, numerous interviews were conducted by Moscow PD, Idaho State Police detectives, and FBI agents. Two of the interviews included Bethany Funk and Dylan Mortensen. Both Bethany and Dylan were inside the King Road residence at the time of the homicides. Were roommates to the victims. Bethany's bedroom was located on the east side of the first floor of the King Road residence. Based on numerous interviews conducted by MPD officers, ISP detectives, and FBI agents, as well as my review of evidence, I have learned the following. On the evening of November 12th, Chapin and Kernodle are seen by Bethany at the Sigma Chi house on the University of Idaho campus at 735 Nez Perce Drive from approximately 9 p.m. on November 12th to 1:45 a.m. on November 13th. Which changed, but okay. Also estimated that at approximately 1:45, Chapin and Kernodle returned to the King Road residence. Bethany Funk also stated that Chapin did not live in the King Road residence but was a guest of Kernodle's. Now, we were also told before that Xana talked to Jeff, her father, at 12:30 and said they ordered pizza and they're sitting at the house watching movies or something at 12:30. So if that happened, how the hell did they not come home to 1:45? So there's another one. Anyway, on we go. Gonsalves and Mogan were at a local bar, the Corner Club, at 202 North Main Street in Moscow. Gonsalves and Mogan can be seen on video footage provided by the Corner Club between 10 p.m. on November 12th until 1:30 a.m. on November 13th. At approximately 1:30, Gonsalves and Mogan can be seen on video at a local food vendor called the Grub Truck at 318 South Main Street in downtown Moscow. The Grub Truck live streams video from their food truck on a streaming platform, Twitch, which is available for public viewing on their website. That didn't even need to be in there, but okay. This video was captured by law enforcement. A private party blank reported that he provided a ride. Okay, Eric Gower to Gonsalves and Mogan at approximately 1:56 from downtown Moscow in front of the Grub Truck to the King Road residence. Dylan and Bethany both made statements during interviews that indicated the occupants of the King Road residence were home by 2 a.m. and asleep, or at least in their rooms by approximately 4 a.m. This is with the exception of Kernodle, who received a DoorDash order at the residence approximately 4 a.m. Law enforcement identified the DoorDash delivery driver who reported this information. Dylan also stated she originally went to sleep in her bedroom on the southeast side of the second floor. Dylan stated she was awoken at approximately 4 a.m. We know that's different. By what she stated, sounded like Gonsalves playing with her dog in one of the upstairs bedrooms, which were located on the third floor. A short time later, Dylan said she heard who she thought was Gonsalves say something to the effect of, "There's someone here." A review of records obtained from a forensic download of Kernodle's phone showed this could have also been Kernodle, as her cellular phone indicated she was likely awake and using TikTok at approximately 4:12. Now that has changed to 3:16 a.m. Okay. Dylan stated she looked out of her bedroom but did not see anything. When she heard the comment about someone being in the house, Dylan stated she opened her door a second time. When she heard what she thought was crying coming from Kernodle's room, Dylan then said she heard a male voice say something to the effect of, "It's okay, I'm going to help you." Then, at approximately 4:17 a.m., a security camera located at 1112 King Road, a residence immediately to the northwest of 1122, picked up distorted audio of what sounded like voices or a whimper, followed by a loud thud, and a dog can also be heard barking numerous times, starting at 4:17 a.m. The security camera is less than 50 feet from the west wall of Kernodle's bedroom. Dylan stated she opened her door for a third time after she heard the crying and saw a figure clad in black clothing and a mask that covered the person's mouth and nose walking towards her. Dylan described the figure as 5'10" or taller, male, not very muscular, but athletically built, with bushy eyebrows. The male walked past DM as she stood in frozen shock phase. The male walked towards the back sliding glass door. Dylan locked herself in her room after seeing the male. DM did not state that she recognized the male. This leads investigators to believe that the murderer left the scene. The combination of Dylan's statements to law enforcement, reviews of forensic downloads of records from Bethany Funk and Dylan's phone, and video of a suspect vehicle as described below leads investigators to believe the homicides occurred between 4 a.m. and 4:25 a.m. During the processing of the crime scene. Okay, so between 4 and 4:25 is when they're saying this happened now. In this. Okay, so during the processing of the crime scene, investigators found a latent shoe print. This was located during the second processing of the crime scene by the Idaho State Police forensic team by first using a presumptive blood test and then the aminoblack, a protein stain that detects the presence of cellular material. The detected shoe print showed a diamond-shaped pattern similar to the pattern of a Vans-type shoe sole just outside the door of Dylan Mortensen's bedroom, located on the second floor. This is consistent with Dylan's statement regarding the suspect's path of travel. As part of the investigation, an extensive search, commonly referred to in law enforcement as video canvass, was conducted in the area of the King Road residence. This video canvass was to obtain any footage from the early morning hours of November 13th, 2022, in the area of the King Road residence and surrounding neighborhoods. Sorry, guys. In an effort to locate the suspect or suspect vehicles. Vehicle suspects or suspects vehicles. There's S's added there anyway. Traveling to or leaving from the King Road residence. This video canvas resulted in the collection of numerous surveillance videos in the area from both residential and business addresses. I have reviewed numerous videos that were collected and have had conversations with the other Moscow PD officers, ISP detectives, and FBI agents that are similarly, Jesus, reviewing footage that was obtained. Sorry, guys. A review of camera footage indicated that a white sedan, hereafter suspect vehicle number 1, was observed traveling westbound on the 700 block of Indian Hills Drive in Moscow at approximately 3:26 a.m. and westbound on Steiner Avenue at Idaho State Highway 95 in Moscow at approximately 3:28 a.m. On this video, it appeared suspect vehicle 1 was not displaying a front license plate. A review of footage from multiple videos obtained from the King Road neighborhood showed multiple sightings of suspect vehicle 1 starting at 3:29 a.m. and ending at 4:20 a.m. These sightings show suspect 1 make an initial 3 passes by 11:22 and then leave via Willenta Drive. Based off of my experience as a patrol officer, this is a residential neighborhood with a very limited number of vehicles that travel in the area during the early morning hours. Upon review of the video, there are only a few cars that enter and exit this area during this time frame. Suspect vehicle 1 can be seen entering the area a 4th time at approximately 4:04 a.m. He can be seen driving eastbound on King Road, stopping and turning around in front of the 500 Queen Road, number 52, and then driving back westward on King Road. When suspect vehicle 1 is in front of the King Road residence, it appeared to unsuccessfully attempt to park or turn around in the road. The vehicle then continued to the intersection of Queen Road and King Road, where it can be seen completing a 3-point turn and then driving eastbound again down Queen Road. Suspect vehicle 1 is next seen departing the area of King Road residence at approximately 4:20. At a high rate of speed, suspect vehicle 1 is next observed traveling southbound on Willenta Drive. Based on my knowledge of the area and review of camera footage in the neighborhood, that does not show suspect vehicle 1 during that time frame. I believe that suspect vehicle 1 likely exited the neighborhood at Palouse River Drive and Conestoga Drive. Palouse River Drive is the southern edge of Moscow, and proceeds into Whitman County, Washington. Eventually, the road leads to Pullman, Washington. Pullman, Washington is approximately 10 miles from Moscow, Idaho. Both Pullman and Moscow are small college towns, and people commonly travel back and forth between them. Law enforcement officers provided video footage of suspect vehicle 1 to forensic examiners with the FBI that regularly utilize surveillance footage to identify the year, make, model of an unknown vehicle that is observed by one or more cameras during the commission of a criminal offense. The forensic examiner has approximately 35 years law enforcement experience with 12 years of the FBI. His specific training includes identifying unique characteristics of vehicles, and he uses a database that gives visual clues of vehicles across states to identify difference between vehicles, which they screwed that up too. After reviewing numerous observations of suspect vehicle 1, the forensic examiner initially believed the suspect 1 was 2011 through 2013 Hyundai Elantra. Upon further review, he indicated it could also be a 2011 through 2016 Hyundai Elantra. As a result, investigators have been reviewing information on persons in possession of a vehicle that is a 2011 through 2016 white Hyundai Elantra Investigators were given access to video footage on the Washington State University campus located in Pullman, Washington. A review of that video indicated that at approximately 2:44 a.m. on November 13th, a white sedan, which was consistent with the description of the white Elantra known as Suspect Vehicle 1, was observed on WSU surveillance cameras, traveling north on Southeast Nevada Street at Northeast Stadium Way at approximately 2:53 a.m. A white sedan, which is consistent with description of the white Elantra, known as Suspect Vehicle 1, was observed traveling southeast on Nevada Street in Pullman towards State Route 270, and that connects Pullman, Washington to Moscow, Idaho. This camera footage from Pullman was provided to the same FBI forensic examiner. The forensic examiner identified the vehicle observed in Pullman as being a 2014 through 16 Hyundai Elantra. At approximately 5:25, a white sedan, which was consistent with the description of Suspect 1, was observed on 5 cameras in Pullman and on WSU campus cameras. The first camera that recorded the white sedan was located at 1300 Johnson Road in Pullman. The white sedan was observed traveling northbound on Johnson Road. Johnson Road leads directly back to West Palouse River Drive in Moscow, which intersects with Conestoga Drive. The white sedan was then observed turning north on Bishop Boulevard and northwest on State Route 270 at approximately 5:27 a.m. The white Elantra was observed on cameras traveling northbound on Stadium Way at Nevada Street, Stadium Way at Grimes Way, Stadium Drive at Wilson Road, and Stadium Way at Cougar Way. The depiction showing Moscow and Pullman, that's just that map there. Depiction showing white Elantra's path of travel, not to scale. Again, these are just maps. On November 25th of 22, Moscow PD asked area law enforcement agencies to be on the lookout for a white Hyundai Elantras in the area. On November 29th, one second, you guys, I'm sorry. I need to take a break for a second anyway. Hold on. One second. Okay. Hold on. Sorry, everyone. Okay. All right. Sorry about that, you guys. On November 29th of 22 at approximately 12:28 a.m., Washington State University police officer Daniel Tiango queried white Elantras registered at WSU. As a result of that query, he located a 2015 white Elantra with Pennsylvania license plate LFZ 8649. This vehicle was registered to Brian Koberger, hereafter Koberger residing at 1630 Northeast Valley Road, apartment 201, Pullman, Washington. 1630 Northeast Valley Road is approximately 3/4 of a mile from the intersection of Stadium Way and Cougar Way. Last camera location that picked up the white Elantra. All right, hold on. Okay, there we go. That same day, at approximately 12:58 a.m., WSU officer Curtis Whitman, was looking for a white Hyundai Elantras and located a 2015 white Hyundai Elantra at 1630 Northeast Valley Road in Pullman in the parking lot. 1630 Northeast Valley Road is an apartment complex that houses WSU students. Officer Whitman also ran the car and it returned to Koberger with a Washington tag. I reviewed Koberger's Washington State driver's license information and photograph. This license indicates that Koberger is a white male with a height of 6 foot and weighs 185 pounds. Additionally, the photograph of Koberger shows that he has bushy eyebrows. Koberger's physical description is consistent with the description of the male DM saw inside the King Road residence on November 13th.
So let's pause right there real quick. And I know we could probably, after the
Yeah.
end of every sentence or at least paragraph, we could do one of these, but just interjecting this into that last paragraph here is
Right.
on the 25th, they were asking law enforcement to be on the lookout for a 2011 to 2013 Elantra. But notice what they do. On the 26th, FBI changed the model year.
Yes.
So therefore, it works for their explaining why Curtis Whitman came up with Brian Koberger's vehicle on the 29th.
Right.
But also notice that it was on December 7th, they petitioned the public to be on the lookout for 2011 to 2013
Right.
model years. So, everybody's aware of the game Whack-A-Mole, where, it's a moving target that's impossible to hit because it keeps changing its position. And there's no, predictable way to identify what's coming at you next. That's what's going on here.
Uh-huh.
So far, if you tally up the lies, it's going to be a challenge, to identify. But the omissions, and notice how, and Dago, I think you were trying to say this earlier, but all the extraneous information that's in this thing, and the reason for it is because there's nothing of substance in this thing.
Right. That's why I'm reading this. I mean, nothing. You're absolutely correct. Absolutely correct.
And it's whack-a-mole. Anytime they need to change the rules or move the goalpost, then, they have a way to explain the ridiculous or the stuff that doesn't make any sense.
Agreed.
So it fits, what they're claiming they did.
Right. Yeah. It's the same thing that they've been doing. Every time that one of these pieces of information we've gotten over the past month comes out, everybody jumps on it and says, okay, here we are again. And oh my God, here's another, either a lie or a misinformation or something that's just not right. And there's always well, here's what it actually is. And it's another way to push it to the side, what you're saying, and keep going with what they're saying. You know what I mean?
This thing really starts, on page 1 when they're talking about, if you just look at, you don't have to scroll back there, but just briefly, if you look at how they discussed Xana and then the way they're talking about Ethan, there's a difference there. It's, I have this impression that, I'm wondering if Ethan was originally in that room.
Right.
Did he fall elsewhere in the house and was moved into that room? Was there a cleanup done? Is there a cleanup in that hallway? It's even consistent with the 911 call. And that's kind of what brought it to my attention. Because notice there's no discussion about Ethan in the 911 call, so to speak.
No, not at all. So that's agreed. That's a strange situation.
So immediately on page 1 of the PCA, there's something fishy going on with Ethan here. No doubt.
Absolutely.
Some staging, because all along we've been under this impression that there's like 2 crime scenes in the crime scene. Yeah. I don't think that's the case. There might be 3 crime scenes in this house.
Agreed. That's very much a good point, Eddie.
We know that they weren't sleeping, and that was, notice how that was pushed on us from the very beginning, is they had to be sleeping because that fits.
Well, they were sound asleep, and everybody was surprised by this attack. And yes, absolutely.
You had people out there that was trying to wrap their heads around that, and it's like you have multiple people broke in the house, killed 4 people, and there's no dog barking. Nobody didn't hear a word. Everybody was asleep, comfortably in their beds. It's hard to even believe that.
Jeff, what kind of I agree with you. Why? That's not even a structured question, Jeff. How many college students know anything about cleanup of a crime scene? Well, not including ones that went to DeSales, and that's a hit on Koberger again. No, anybody can clean up a crime scene. Okay, it's Jesus, dude. I mean, you can Google anything. Think about it. Like, how do you clean up blood? Things like that. Google tells you everything. Even if they don't, you're cleaning up a mess, Jeff. It's just standardized cleaning. And other people could know these things. You could ask questions. You can Google everything, is what I'm saying. But I mean, again, no disrespect intended, but that question just it doesn't make sense to me. So, yeah, it starts at page 1, Eddie. I agree that it's as soon as you start reading into this, it's off. Okay. And then we read again that we're told that they found the knife sheath tucked underneath Maddie's thigh under the comforter. But in this, it tells us that he saw it later laying next to her. Now, when we said something about that before, we were told, well, it's the wording. Well, no, this is an affidavit on a quadruple homicide. The words are important. Okay. I'm just saying the words are important. So I don't know, you guys. I don't know. I think I've read almost all of it now. Where was I at?
And add this into it is I'm not sure, if we were to go back and try to identify the first news, like TV type news, airing on a broadcast channel of television, I'm not sure what you would find. I know Christy has spoke of they were watching TV and saw the cars parked in the driveway or something. I've never seen that. I don't know about any of you. Obviously, that would have had to have been something on the 13th.
I have found, and I do have, I think. Let me hold on here. I'll grab it real quick.
While you're doing that, while I mention it, is because one of the very first things, if you were to go back and look for what is the first time that you saw something on the news about this, you'd be hard pressed to find something before this. And it was on the 14th, so November 14th on Creme 2, Janelle Finch was the journalist or the TV personality sharing a statement by Olivia G on behalf of the G family. And the statement is, stop spreading rumors about what happened and wait for facts from police. That's interesting. How come a story like this has to begin in that way? That is suspicious. And that was right from almost day one, so to speak, just hours, if you will, 24 or less hours from the time of when this began.
Agreed. Definitely agreed. Hold on, you guys.
They were already molding and pushing the narrative, and it was a disinformation campaign from that moment and before.
Give me 1 second. I'm almost.
It kind of lets me know that they wasn't prepared on how big this was going to be. This has went all over the world.
Yes. And you had said something poignant earlier. You were talking about how John Judge was almost like taking sides and teaming up against the defense. He was doing the work of the prosecutor. I'm paraphrasing what you said, but something to that effect. Yeah. And you're right. You're absolutely right. And we're still seeing it to this day.
Yeah. And it's funny how he, by the way, I'm going to retire. So good luck. That's the way I kind of take that. It's like, oh, really? Okay. I'm telling you guys, it's just I believe there's a whole lot bigger than
Whole lot bigger.
Kohlberger
Yeah.
that's going on right now. I think Kohlberger was just a scapegoat to hide and mask what really happened and how it happened. I think big time players involved in this.
This is the first broadcast I can find. I used to have another. A couple of them were. I think some of them were taken down. To be honest with you, like initial ones were taken down days or weeks or so afterwards from certain news channels. I'm not 100% sure. Don't quote me on that, but this is the first one I can find, like initially, and this was the 14th. I swear I had at one point in time, and I know I don't have it because it was in my other computer, and I certain things I didn't save that way. There were broadcasts on the 13th. I swear there were. Um. Anyway, let's check this out real quick.
The deaths of 4 students.
Nicole Hernandez live in Moscow right now. Nicole, you've been there for an hour or so now. What are you hearing from police this morning?
So, Tim Channing, what we know right now is that police do still have this house here blocked off with crime tape, investigating here. We have one person also kind of manning the scene, making sure nobody messes with the area. But what we know is yesterday, this house right here is where police found 4 bodies. And later that day, University of Idaho confirmed that they were U of I students there. So take a look at this breakdown here of the timeline that we have of how things happened. About 1 p.m., we heard reports of a homicide investigation near the college campus. An hour later, the school put out an alert on social media. It said Moscow PD is investigating a homicide on King Road. They asked the community to stay away from the area and shelter in place as a precaution. Around 3 in the afternoon, Crime 2 arrived in Moscow. Neighbors said most people living in this area are part of U of I Greek life or are students. At around 5 in the evening, the Moscow Police Department confirmed they had found 4 people dead. But it wasn't until late that night that they confirmed the victims were students. The University of Idaho also said Moscow police do not think there's any active threat at the moment as they continue their investigation. And again, classes are canceled today for University of Idaho students. They will resume classes tomorrow. In Moscow, Nicole Hernandez, Crime 2 News.
Now, last night, the University of Idaho released a statement. President Scott Green says in part, an event of this magnitude can understandably have significant impacts on those left behind. As vandals, we must come together and lift each other up. He also is letting students know that there are several support options available, including drop-in counseling.
Well, we will continue to follow this developing story here on Up with Krem. You can also find the latest information on our website, krem.com, and inside the Krem 2 app.
Okay. So yeah, there's another inconsistency, if we're going to tally up inconsistencies. So I think they mentioned there, there's no threat to the community. You notice on the first press conference, I think it was Emma Epperly asked the question, how can you say that there's no threat to the community if you don't have a suspect at this point?
Absolutely. I do agree.
That she didn't even have to think. That comes to everyone's mind because it's just logic. And without a suspect or without knowing the motive, how would you know to say that? Well, there is one other explanation, is if you already had the crime solved, you already know who did it.
It makes sense, Eddie. It does. It does. Hey, D. Smith, good to see you. Claire Bear, D. Smith, Demon Dog, Joanne, all you guys, I see you in here. Thank you, Chief. Welcome, everybody. Joanne, I said that. Tiki Bar, all you guys, I'm starting to see you guys now. Welcome. It's great to have you here. But no, Eddie, that does make perfect sense. You know what? Let me play this one too, you guys. I forgot I did have this one. But this is from the 14th too. I can't find any from the 13th for some reason. It's weird. But I know they put them out, especially in the evening for like the 6 o'clock news, I believe it was. So
yeah, I think we saw that evening one, all of us.
Yep.
And they had it cordoned off further back. It was like at the intersection, the T intersection at King and Queen.
Yes,
they were standing as far back as that, and it was dark out.
That is true. And I remember, I think I covered this the morning or the early afternoon, it was, of the 14th. but I remember seeing it on the 13th, and we went back and watched the 13th video. So welcome, Mark and Betty. So yeah, 100%, 100%. That's true. All right, hang on.
Of Idaho students were found dead in an off-campus house yesterday morning. Today, both the university and police identified the students who were killed. 3 of them are from Idaho. News Channel 7's Andrew Bartline and photographer Troy Colson made their way up to Moscow today. Andrew is now live at the scene. So, Andrew, what can you tell us since you've arrived there?
Well, first off, we'll set the scene for where we are on campus. It's kind of the corner of Queen and King. If you're not familiar with their roads, I mean, it's just kind of off the campus, kind of near one of those Greek row sections that's sort of broken into 2 here up at the University of Idaho, pretty close to that water tower. We talked with the Moscow mayor, Art Bedke. He tells us that it's just the start of an investigation. He tells us that this scene is complex. It's going to take time to work through. He said the Idaho State Police is going to be bringing up a mobile unit to the area as well to sort of sort through this more complex crime scene, he says. He says there's no ongoing threat at the time. Wanted to make that clear and echo what we've heard from police, but there is no suspect. There's nobody in custody right now in relation to this. Now, this quote that's going around, a crime of passion that has been seen in several media outlets published, he clarified that to us. The mayor is not saying it is a crime of passion. He says it could be a crime of passion. He also clarified that it could have been a burglary gone wrong. There's a couple different options right now, but again, complex scene, working through it to find out. Now, we'll show you what some video of this looks like earlier today as you're looking around at this area. The tape is still up. As Doug said, 4 students dead. That they were found around noon yesterday. It is a homicide investigation. And now the names are known to us. It's Ethan Chapin, Madison Mogan, Xana Cornoodle, and Kaylee Goncalves. And we talked with a neighbor who lives right next door to them. She said she knew nothing the night of, but police cars the day after sort of woke them up around noon. And now she says her and all of her roommates and people on this block are going home early for Thanksgiving break.
A lot of people left last night, and then we were like, I know we were like one of the only ones who actually stayed here last night. My mom has called me every single hour for since 7 a.m. this morning. So yeah, they want me to come home if I don't feel safe. They just said, come home. A week worth of school isn't worth it. If you're just gonna be scared every night. So it was just every little noise. I was like, is someone in the house? I don't know. And it was just scary. It's all just shocking and scary. I never would have thought that this would have happened here.
The university canceled classes today. Classes are scheduled to resume tomorrow, but as we mentioned, a handful of students are leaving early. And actually the scene right now, if you want to take us back, you can see that a car is actually now driving in onto the property. This is a Moscow police car. There's already 1 police car on the property right now, so that would make it 2. That other car has been there since we got here earlier today. That was around, I believe, 4 o'clock Mountain Time. So there's a couple moving pieces right now, and it looks like there might be another car. And it does, no, never mind, I take that back. That is a residential car nonetheless. But we're going to stay on top of this. We're going to have more for you at the news at 10, more of our conversation with the mayor and from the people who live in this neighborhood, sort of how they're handling this situation right now. Doug?
Andrew, thank you for getting us up to speed there live in Moscow. Look for your report tonight on the news at 10.
Is this no, it was another news clip that you could see it. They were standing in front of the house and you could see it in the background on the road. Another white Elantra drives by on Walenta. So yeah, that's an idea, guys. I think we should go back on one of these days here soon and go back through all the news clips and all of those, everything, and re-review all that stuff and see if anything's changed since this, from that point to now, because it has dramatically, in my opinion. So many things have. Anything else to add to that clip that we just watched? Hemisphere, Eddie, Mama Bear, anybody? Eddie?
Well, I don't blame the girl that was there saying that she didn't want to be there. I don't blame her.
Well, that was the
neighbor.
neighbor.
Go too.
Yeah, that was the neighbor directly to the right of them. They were friends with her too, which was strange. I thought that's who we heard on the 911 call first. And it's weird. I just remembered something. Didn't we see a video? I'm going to find that one too, a news clip where there was somebody that lived very close to that house of a girl they interviewed talking about finding underwear or something in the car or something like that. You guys remember that?
I remember that. Yeah, that was March.
Was it in March? Okay.
Yeah.
I will find all those too. But I think that's probably going to do it for today, guys. It's been 3.5 hours and I don't want to drive everybody insane. Plunder, yeah, but we'll probably be back tomorrow for some other stuff. I want to go through all of those news reports. I want to find that. I'm on a mission now to find the one from the 13th. I guarantee you it's out here somewhere. What did I miss, guys? I'm sorry in chat. I'm trying to keep up with you guys. I really did not mean to miss anything.
Are you covering the trial or
But that,
the hearing?
oh yeah. I'll be covering if they're. I don't know if they're both televised. I think one is and one isn't. But I will cover everything that's been put out. I'm covering it.
Yeah, the only thing I would point out with that most recent news clipping that you had there is, I think that house that student was at, isn't that the house that had a ring cam?
That's the house that I believe that they picked up the sound and the audio from.
Yeah, and I forget what the date of that was, that news broadcast that you just shared with us, but
that one was on the 14th too.
Yeah. Then if my memory serves, then their ring cam wasn't even obtained by law enforcement at that point.
Right. No, it wasn't. That's true. I don't think they had that until.
I'm going by memory. I want to say the 18th.
Yeah, it was roughly around there. Yeah, I'm gonna say that's true. That's true. Welcome, Lynn's. By the way, I just seen you, dear. 100%.
So those are one of the inconsistencies of a real, actual investigation.
Yeah. Agreed.
And just lastly, is I recall, not in this most recent hearing on January 23rd and 24th, but previously when she was deposing Brett Payne, she had asked if he was aware that ring cam owners receive notifications when there's data, you know, like a photograph or a video or whatever.
Right.
And is he aware of that? And did they collect? And of course, his answer was, well, it's very suggestive that they did not collect or pursue looking into the notifications that the owner would have received for ring cam data. I just wanted to add that, refresh everyone's memory about that.
That's a good
Very
point.
interesting.
Very good point. Hold on a minute here, guys. I did want to thank Outcast is in the chat now. Thank you for that video. Here is the link to Outcast's channel, guys, if you want to go check that stuff out. And hit the like button over there, subscribe. There's a lot of audio stuff over there he's been doing. And there's the link there. It's very much appreciated for what you put out, sir. I appreciate that. And making that available for us to be able to use just as much as I appreciate Jeff making his available for us to be able to use. Thank you for that as well. Can we put Jeff's link in the chat as well, guys? For anybody that wants to go check those out. Very much appreciated, Outcast and Jeff H. Thank you for all of your work with the stuff you've done as well. I wonder what looking into some of the on-foot personnel captured on camera. That's a great point. That's a great point, Dan. That's something I thought about a long time ago, and I just never, you know what I mean? But good point, sir. Very good point. Absolutely, Melissa. Thank you. Mama Bear, do you have any, Mama Bear, do you have any like last thoughts on this before we get out of here tonight?
No, I don't. I'm crashing. My brain's not functioning.
I get it. Eddie, anything left on your end?
No, just to say thanks again, always, for providing the platform to be able to, join you and share my thoughts.
Absolutely.
And with everybody, the
I
community.
appreciate
So I
It's an
appreciate it.
honor. It was an honor for me always. And Hemisphere, thank you again for joining us. I appreciate that very much.
Yeah, appreciate
As
y'all.
always, guys. And like I said, I have a lot of ideas now that I want to look into with this stuff. So we may be back here tomorrow for sure. In the early afternoon, maybe hope mid afternoon. I'll say that just to be safe, not early. Yeah, I don't want to do that, but I will be here in the morning for the morning show as always. And I hope to see some of you guys there for that as well. Again, Hemisphere, Eddie, Mama Bear, thank you guys very much for joining me today. Everybody in chat, you guys are absolutely amazing. I couldn't do this without you. I wouldn't do this without you. I appreciate you all very much, guys. Again, on your way out the door, if you haven't done it, please make sure to hit the like button. And everybody in here, please don't forget to love yourselves, love each other. Don't change nothing. You guys are the beautiful people, and I appreciate you all so very much. Everyone have a wonderful, wonderful night. Good night. God bless, and I will see you guys soon. Bye-bye.
Have a great night, guys, and I will see you later. And thank you.
It was on the screen, typing at the speed of light, hunting down the shadows, bringing wrongs to right, digging deep in the data, facts sharp as a knife. With every single story, he's fighting for a life. A voice for the voiceless, he won't stay quiet. Daniel's got the fire igniting the fight. True crime revelation shining through the night. With every victim story, he pulls at the strings. A hero in the darkness, hear the truth he brings. Streaming loud and clear, cracking cases open, hearts filled with fear. His channel's a beacon in a world gone wrong. He guides us through the chaos, a soldier so strong. The clicks and the lights, they follow his lead. With every new case, he plants a new seed. Sharing their stories, giving hope where it fades. Daniel's a warrior through the trials he waits. In a world of silence, he shouts out their names. Daniel's got the fire igniting the fight. True crime revelation shining through the night. With every victim story, he pulls at the strings. A hero in the darkness, hear the truth he brings. From the shadows you rise, streaming loud and clear. True crime revelation shining through the night. With every victim story, he pulls at the strings. A hero in the darkness, hear the truth he brings. Daniel's got the fire igniting the fight. True crime revelation shining through the night. With every victim story, he pulls at the